Welcome. Thank you guys for coming. I'll tell you, like, is there anything specific we need to announce? Do we have upcoming shows on the docket that we need to mention? Let's see. This is February the 15th. So I think tomorrow we've got John and Erica on Skeptalk. We've got Chewed Gum on Tuesday with Alyssa and Promise. Thursday's Matt Dillahunty and Ian Harris, and then TACIS with Ben and Josie. Got a lot of shows scheduled coming up. I hope you guys are excited for it. Hope you're excited for tonight. What did we end up naming this one? Christianity is bad for society, right? I think that's what we got. I completely concur with that statement, and if you disagree with me, call in and debate me on it. The number is, what is the number? 720-619-2288. Call in, yell at us, tell us why we're wrong, whatever. We want to hear about it. What do you got going on?
Just the normal stuff over there on my channel. I'm posting up clips. I'm doing a lot of just me on like TikTok and stuff, like interacting with people. So I have a few of those videos going up. I just recently did a collaboration video with a guy known as Dark of All Trades. We handled the Numbers 31 and Deuteronomy 21 verses about war brides and of course the little girls taken as war brides. And there was this apologist that was inventing this fantastical version of it, where in Numbers 31, they went in and took all of the virgin girls, not for, marrying later, which, graping, but essaying, but actually to adopt them as adopted and raise them in their house, like as daughters and stuff. So like totally not perverted things, but like wholesome dad stuff. That's why they killed their entire family first, the dad thing.
That checks out. Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of thing I would do for sure. Kill their whole family first. Yeah. How's TikTok going? Like, I know that TikTok is taking a big turn for the worse recently, right? Because of the whole changing hands to Larry Ellison and everything. Have you had bad experiences with it recently? Or?
I really haven't noticed too much of a difference because it was kind of shitty before. And so now it's just American shitty. And, just for instance, literally some guy came up and bullied me for about 10 minutes and then, left out. And then I'm the one that got flagged for harassment and bullying. It is total bullshit. And when that happens, you just get like restricted from like being in the like For You cycle or some kind of shit like that. So, I mean, it's been a little weird, and I've learned to mix it. Like it's hard going from like TikTok to YouTube, because it's like over on TikTok you got to say stupid shit like unalive and P3DOs and all this other stuff. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, you probably get used to saying that. Do you find yourself saying it in everyday language now?
I find that I stop myself. Like I definitely have to think before I say it.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually have a TikTok account with like 30,000 followers, but I haven't uploaded there in like literal years. I should probably do that.
Oh, okay. You should. I mean, if you have enough, people to get you out of like the sub 200 view sort of area, you can use, as long as you post there consistently, you can get pretty good traction. It's also a great place. Like I know that you do your call-in stuff, right? You still like take call,
a little bit.
A little
Not
bit.
Too much, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, over there on TikTok, like it's just so easy to have people request up. You just got to be prepared to drop them real quick, just in case they throw out some slurs.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I might actually have to look into that. That sounds pretty legit. I've been doing some YouTube shorts every now and then. It's been pretty
Hmm.
cool. But anyway, yeah, I've been working on some programs lately because as you know, I'm a programmer. I was before YouTube, as you are, I believe, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And yeah, so I just kind of been like writing different programs that like do text to speech. I have a content like, or I'm sorry, I have a metadata generator and stuff like that. It's been pretty cool. So
Oh
uh,
yeah. Do you
yeah,
use like any kind of LLMs for that, or
I do.
well?
Yeah, I integrated an LLM into my in basically into all of my stuff, so I can call like it's a local program that runs on my computer. And
Okay.
I
Does
just
that take up? Sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I just run it like locally, and I don't have to like worry about anything going off my computer into other servers or anything like that. So
Hmm. No, yeah, that's cool. I was wondering about the power consumption because like I thought about because I've got like a spare tower here and I've thought
Mhm.
about having like an LLM run that I can use locally. But yeah, I was wondering about the power consumption of that.
It takes up almost no like electricity realistically. It probably takes up like $1 per month on my electric bill if I ran
Oh,
it all
okay.
the time. It's almost nothing. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess since you're not like providing it for other people, it's just you that's pinging it. I guess it would be pretty low impact, huh?
yeah, yeah. Plus it's not like it's running 24/7. Basically, I just call it and
Ah,
I do what I need to do and then it comes back down. So
right. Yeah. No, that's smart. That's smart. Yeah.
yeah, I've been using it. In fact, I'm using it right now basically to take a book that was written in German, like a biography of this dude from, World War II that has not been translated to English, and I'm translating it to English. And then I'm going to text to
Oh,
speech it so I can listen to this thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But
nice.
anyway, yeah. What else you got going on? Anything interesting?
Oh, well, so in case anybody doesn't know, I actually formed a 501c3 called Rocket City Reason, and we are putting on our conference this year, later in October.
Congratulations. That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
thank. Yeah, and we're having it at the Space and Rocket Center Marriott, and we're gonna have a lot of great stuff. If y'all want to go and check it out, it's rocketcityreason.com. You can see the schedule. We're gonna have an Alabama barbecue on Friday night. We're gonna have a drag show on Friday night. We've got a bunch of cool people that are gonna be there on Saturday for the conference, and then we're actually gonna have a live line show that night at the conference with everybody from the line that's going to be there because we've got a pretty fuck ton amount of line hosts that are actually going to be there. And so we're going to do that. And then we're touring the Space and Rocket Center on Sunday morning. So it's going to be an awesome time. I've heard a lot of great things from a lot of people online about wanting to attend. And so I think that it's going to be a pretty fun time.
That's cool. When is it happening?
Oh, good. Yeah, I totally forgot. October 23rd through 25th. So it's near the end of this year.
That is pretty cool. Very nice. Yeah. And how many people are you expecting? Do you have any idea yet?
Well, we have a max capacity of 300, so we're hoping
Okay.
300.
That is awesome. That is the shit. Have you heard about like this Epstein stuff going on recently?
Wait, who's Epstein? No, yes.
What do you think about it?
I just think that it's really odd for, I guess maybe it's not odd, but it's kind of crazy that the group that was screaming for like the Epstein files to be released and everything like that, only to have their orange savior, like essentially hide all of the high ranking people and the co-conspirators and everything like that, like actively hide them. I mean, on the one hand, you should expect that, but on the other hand, like you know, I'm surprised by it, I guess. I'm not surprised by who they're finding in the files, and I'm also not surprised that they've redacted all of the high level conspirators and everything like that.
I find it interesting that um, we actually got these names in the first place. Like,
Mm.
I can't believe, honestly, I really didn't think that we would ever see the names of Some of these people like the Sultan. Did you hear about the Sultan?
I think so. I
He
remember. I go ahead.
he basically he sent an email that said something about "I loved the torture" video or something, and
I
they
heard about that.
redacted his name. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
what the hell?
So I did a meme for my Facebook page if anybody's old enough to still be using Facebook. But like I have the screenshot of like them saying, oh, there's no like Epstein did not like traffic minors to like people and didn't do a sex trafficking ring. And then it's like there's like three very plain emails that's like, you know, this it was like a picture and said age 10. It's like, how the fuck, like how are you gonna like, and there's just so many instances. It's like, no, he was definitely trafficking children
Oh
here.
yeah,
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
totally. Yeah, I read this book by Julie K. Green recently. She's basically like the Miami Herald reporter who broke the story originally, and she
Mhm.
wrote this book I think in 2017 called "Perversion of Justice" on the whole thing, like not conspiracy theories, but the actual like how he did it, how his operation worked, and all of the people that he worked with and everything. And it is wild, dude. And you know what else is wild? Watching people flip on a dime. Like all of these conspiracy theorists saying Epstein is like the root of all evil, and suddenly, out of nowhere, we didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? He's a good guy. It's like wild, dude. I have whiplash.
Yeah. It's really fucking crazy.
Absolutely insane. So anyway, that's kind of the top story. By the way, call in if you want to debate us, 720-619-2288. We'll talk about pretty much anything. But do we have a specific subject we're hitting tonight, or is it basically anything? Do you know?
I mean, I'm up for anything, but I really like the whole idea that, Christianity is just bad for society in general. Like even like anything that you can find that's good in Christianity, you can definitely find it in other places, and you should probably find it in different places. So, I mean, I think that Christianity just in general is bad.
Absolutely. Even the good Christianity, like you said, right? Like even the
Mhm.
moderate, middle of the road stuff. I don't really have a problem with people being Christian, but it would be better if you weren't, right? It would be better
Yeah.
if Christianity just wasn't here, because believing false things is inherently bad, in my opinion. So call in and debate us on this if you disagree. 720-619-2288. 720-619-2288. Anyway, yeah, Epstein being the top story. Have you seen anything else interesting happening lately?
Oh, did you see that Vance did a little bit of a blunder when he had to break a tie vote in the Senate, because he
Oh,
was reading off like the thing that he had to break the tie vote on, and then he had to stop for a second, and he looks off to his left, and I mean, this is me exaggerating just a little bit, but he was just like, line, line. Like he had to have somebody tell him how to vote on something, and I think that that's like, just about the maggots out there have spent so much time being like, oh, Joe Biden was controlled by other people. We should really be holding the people that were controlling Joe Biden accountable for elder abuse. But then you've got fucking couch fucker up there that's like, I need to be told how to vote on this because I can't actually use the brains. I mean, I woke up 20 minutes ago from fucking the couch, and I just need to be told how to vote on this. Like, it's just crazy how
absolutely.
that works out.
Yeah, 100% agree. By the way, I'm seeing Cullen Studio says the show ended. I'm not sure why, but we might need to work that
Um,
out.
Were you on
Is
Jimmy Snow on the line instead of the other one?
possibly. Let me try that. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Here we
we
go.
got.
Yeah. Hey, we got some theists on here, actually. We could probably
Yep.
take a call if you want.
Oh yeah, I'm totally down for a call.
All right, awesome. Let me bring in our theist on the line. We've got Matthew on the line, him from Oklahoma. What do you got for us, Matthew?
Hello, this is Owen and John Gleason, correct?
Affirmative.
Perfect. So I wanted to talk. So I wanted to talk about how Christianity can be very good for society in the order it brings, and a lot of people talk about like how it instills fear into people. It brings obedience through fear. But the thing is that I actually kind of like that. And the reason I like
Oh,
that
so you're a
is
psychopath. I
from
got you.
the reason is that when you see like how society is going on right now and what makes people respond, it's not so much reason but emotion that makes people do things. And I think there needs to be some kind of way to get the masses to behave. And
Oh,
honestly,
so
I
so
think,
Matthew, if I can
and
propose real
personally,
quick,
I'm
since
not
we're
even
going,
that necessarily super
yeah, I
Christian,
mean, just fuck me.
really.
I'm not
I'm not.
talking, right? Yeah, I'm not talking here.
Oh, sorry.
Matthew. Yeah, I know you don't care if I'm talking, but Matthew. So let's just take a page from. Sorry, I don't mean to jump in too hard there, Owen, but let's
Okay.
just take a page from the Bible. If since you seem to like seeing other people suffer, do you think that we should bring back public executions?
I mean, not necessarily, because public executions can often, like for example, with the guillotine, when someone's head was cut off, when blood splattered, if someone had a disease or a parasite, that would spread to multiple people. So I'm not a
Oh
fan
my
of those
God.
things. No.
Yes, that's the problem with fucking guillotines. It's the possible spread of bloodborne pathogens. Sure. Right. Yeah, that's the concern right there for the public executions in the square.
Oh, hold on.
No,
Hold
okay.
on. I'll
So
be right back.
what I'm thinking about, like, in what?
Hold
Did
on.
he say that I'll be
I'm really sorry, but I do have to go. I have to go. I'm very sorry.
Damn.
I'll probably call back later. Hold on.
Okay.
okay.
Thanks
All right.
for calling, I suppose. That's a shame, but what a wild thing to say.
Yeah. I just think it's crazy, him calling in being like, listen, I'm just a pure fucking psychopath. And I really think that we just need to start, fucking, abusing people, because that's the only way to get them to act right, is to abuse the fuck out of them. Oh, sorry. I can't really elaborate. I gotta go.
Honestly, like, yeah, and the bottom line is like people are kept in line in religion through fear, right? Like fear of hell, fear of not getting into heaven. And laws can accomplish that just fine, fear of going to jail, without lying to people. So I would say there's like the debunk to the idea. We actually have another caller, though. We have Hakeem, a Christian from North Carolina. What do you got for us, Hakeem?
I think Christianity is good.
Okay, I disagree. Why do you think it's good?
It just makes people better, all in all.
No, it doesn't.
Following God,
At all.
Jesus,
No.
basic humanity.
No. Like religion has been destructive throughout all of history. Every time society tries to move forward and make progress, there's the church standing in the way. I don't see how you could possibly. In what way does it make people better?
Where is the church standing in the way today, except for maybe the woke pope?
Gay marriage. Yes, gay marriage, trying to make progress, trying to make people's lives better. Trans rights. I mean, the church, vaccines. The church literally created conspiracy theories during COVID because they were afraid they're going to lose people to like disinterest or whatever. Apathy, that's the word. They're going to lose people to apathy. So they made up conspiracy theories about liberals trying to prevent people from going to church or whatever and using COVID as the cover. Like the church at every step has stood in the way of progress.
I would also like to point out that the toxic cycle within church communities of protecting and enabling pedophiles is also pretty rampant, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. At least we hear about it all the time about how these people are being caught, and they're only being caught because outside authorities are being contacted. But whereas before, people would only report to inside authorities. So it's only because the church congregation is going outside of church authority that we see that. We don't see the churches reporting the pedophiles.
Right. So what do you have to say about it? What do you think?
I'll respond, but can the guy with the hat, what's your name? And the guy without the hat, what's your name? Just to
I'm Owen.
respond to you by name. Without the hat or with?
I am Owen, and I do not have a hat.
I am
Owen
John,
without the
and I
hat,
have
and?
the come and go hat. John.
And John has a come and go hat. The majority of pedophilia in the church is male on boy, meaning homosexuality, which is a detestable sin.
No. It's not
I'm
a detestable.
all
Well, for
it.
one thing,
I'm all for it.
no,
Yes, it is.
you're all for.
Yes,
You're
it
all
is.
for.
Wait, let me speak. Oh, whoa. Why? I
All
let
right,
you
look,
speak now.
hold on, buddy. Look, we're going to mute you for a second. I'll bring you right back in, but you were interrupting John, so go ahead, John.
Right. Yeah. So the whole sin part of it, we don't really care about what offends your God, and so it's not a sin to be gay. For one, for two, you're totally mistaken about the proclivity of it being male on male. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm fairly certain that if we go and we look, we can definitely find that the violations are pretty evenly across both. Sexes in that particular respect. So I do believe that you're just totally wrong about that. You're trying to portray it as this sin of gayness, if you will, but that's just not it. Plus, if you know anything about the pedophiles, you'll know that it's not really about the sex or gender about concerned with the kid. It's more about the power dynamic, the being able to control the victim in that particular situation. It's not really about attraction to a certain gender. It's more about this exerting your power over the weaker child.
Definitely, and I also just looked it up real fast out of curiosity. It in the church, it looks like a majority is man and boy, but it's the exact opposite in general society. A study was done on this by PubMed and shows that the reason for that was access. It's because they have more access to the boys, thus proving the point that it's not about orientation. It's about the power dynamic. Do you want me to give you the PubMed study you can look at?
Not really. You proved my point. In the church, it's mostly men on boys and or women on girls.
What was your point? Wait, what was your point then?
Homosexuality is a sin.
That's not homosexuality. You got gummy bears in your ears?
Yes, it is. No, it is. I'm sorry. Sin is sin, and homosexuality is a sin.
No, you don't. No, it's not. What Owen
Jesus
described
said it was a sin.
No, hold on. Hakeem, Owen described it as not being about the gender of the person, but it was about the power imbalance that exists between the two. That's what they're attracted to.
He's wrong to defend homosexuals. He's lying to defend homosexuals.
You're saying that it's homosexuality is the problem. So I take that to mean you don't have a problem with molesting girls. Is that what you're saying? The problem isn't with the molestation stage. It's with the fact that it's a man and a boy. Is that the problem?
I hate pedophiles too. I mean, no.
Then why are you singling out one group here? I don't understand.
Yeah, they're both pedophiles.
Because it's the majority per the church. We're talking about Christianity in the church.
Okay,
you went outside the church.
No. So listen, you're desperately trying to make this about homosexuality. Hold on, Hakeem, you're desperately trying to make this about homosexuality, but it's not about homosexuality. It's about pedophiles. Now, you seem to think that the homosexuality is a sin, and that's what makes the male on boy offenses bad. But you distinguish that as different from the male on female or the female on boy situations in this particular respect. Do you approve of like having sex with teenage children?
Yes, that would be awful. But we were talking about 13. The church. let me just respond. We were talking about the church. It's mostly men on boys or women on girls, mostly in the Catholic Church. Outside of that, I'm happy to discuss it.
No, not mostly in the
They're
Catholic
all
Church. It
Satanists.
happens regardless of denomination. It happens in Protestant and Catholic denominations. So you're just wrong about that. And it really doesn't matter what happens most like which male on male or female on female or whatever. Like that the amount of that happens doesn't matter. They're all pedophiles. So like it's just pedophiles. You're desperately trying to make it about homosexuality, but it's not. It's literally not about homosexuality. Like Owen said, it's about access. They have access to the boys in the churches. That just like that, depending on church congregation, they would have, access to girls as well, and they do violate girls too. Do you condone a priest molesting a female child?
Yes, I do. Outside of the church, it's mostly teachers in the schools. But that wasn't the topic. We were talking about, wait, let me finish. Come on, I was polite. Let me finish. In the church, and it's mostly Catholic, it's male on boys or women on girls, a.k.a.
It doesn't matter. We've already handled this. It doesn't matter.
And also, I'm not even sure what point you're making. Like, all right, taking advantage of a kid is bad.
Homosexuality is a
no matter who it
sin.
is. So taking advantage of a child is bad, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Then why are you sitting here pretending that it doesn't happen in the church, trying to pin it on another group? They're taking advantage of kids. It doesn't matter.
I said it does.
Doing.
I said it does happen in the church.
But you're trying to pin it on another group.
Be abolished.
You're trying to blame gay
It's
people
just the
instead of
homosexuals,
priests.
sir.
It's
in the
priests.
church, it's vastly the homosexuals.
Oh,
no, it isn't. No, they're not homosexuals. They're pedophiles. Jesus Christ, you're desperately trying to make it about that.
Men on boys is homosexuality. Same sex is always homosexuality.
Hakeem, your two brain cells that are rubbing together right now are working really hard to make this about homosexuality. But okay, let's drift away from the homosexuality.
Why are you avoiding it?
Let's drift. No.
Are you pro pedophilia? Are you pro pedophilia?
No, I am not. I'm gonna no, hold on, Hakeem, I can prove to you that you're pro pedophilia in like 5 minutes if you'll give me time.
I'll listen and be very nice like I have been.
Yeah, well, I don't consider shitheads to be nice in general. But anyways, so Hakeem,
why'd you call me a shithead? Take that back. Take that back. Be nice.
No, I'm not going to take it back. You're being a shithead in this call. That's exactly what you're being. So I'm just calling a spade in this. No, you're not. So Hakeem, you're saying that you disapprove of a older male like impregnating or sleeping with a 14-year-old child, correct?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay, so let's this situation right here. Let's say a man, 30-year-old man is walking down an alleyway and comes across a 14-year-old child, corners her and says, "You will bear my child. Like I will impregnate you. You will bear my child." And then she acquiesces to that because she knows that if she fights back or she says no, then she's likely going to get hurt or killed because of it. So she allows it to happen. Is that considered rape and pedophilia in that situation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now we need to turn into the New Testament, Luke 1, 27 to 38 or so, where Gabriel and God spirit roast Mary and force her to carry God's child, forcefully impregnating her. Can you please differentiate the hypothetical I gave you with what happens in Luke 1?
Killing the baby is still murder. I think that if they want to make that decision like right away, then
the fuck are you talking about?
But
I mentioned Luke 1.
You went to abortion.
No, I didn't.
Abortion, sir.
No, we aren't going to.
What you're saying? Carry the child.
No,
yes, you went to carry the child.
Listening.
You know you're
you
going.
were not listening.
I already
to
called
what
you
saying.
out. Why'd you say she anyway? I'm talking about the church. I opened the call very nicely.
No,
talking about the church.
No, Hakeem, holy fuck, Hakeem. I'm muting you real quick. Right. I'm muting you right now. Okay. I don't care how nice you're being. Your position is shitty in general. Now, what I laid out to you was in Luke 1, God has Gabriel approach Mary and say, "You will bear my child. And you will, you will call him Jesus and all this other stuff." Right. And then Mary then proceeds to acquiesce to it because she can't say no to God. She literally can't, because she knows that something like what happened to Jonah is going to happen to her. Right. Jonah said no to God, and God put him in a whale or big fish, whatever the fuck, and then forced him to go to Nineveh anyways and preach the good word of the genocidal Lord. Okay. And so Mary would know at that point that God would just hurt her family, or and end up forcing her to do it anyways. Okay. So she acquiesces to Gabriel and God's command that she will bear the child of God, right? She will bear Jesus. So I'm wanting you to do right now, when I bring you back on, I want you to differentiate that situation in Luke 1:27-38 versus the hypothetical alleyway with the 14-year-old child.
Mary willingly carried the child of Jesus, bore
you're
him.
You're a pedophilia apologist. You're a pedophilia apologist. I told you. I told you. I took it less than 5 minutes.
Why you guys talk over me? That's horrible.
Because I was right.
You knew to me. I waited patiently.
Yeah, I
Mary
don't care. I don't care to
bear Jesus.
No,
Jesus is the Savior.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
No, she didn't.
And
you're being a pedophile apologist right now.
Joseph was a proud father, but you're straying way off the case of the church, where the vast majority of pedophiles are homosexual.
Hakeem, Luke 1 does not contain any kind of question. They do not ask Mary to carry the child of God. They do not question. They do not ask her a question. They make a statement. They say, "You will bear his child," right? And then she acquiesces to it because she knows that she can't say no, right? She allows it to happen. It's the exact same thing as the alleyway hypothetical that I gave you.
That's your implication.
No, that's my implication. What? Yeah, just reading words off the fucking page is.
It's okay.
What? I'm not reading it right.
Mary felt blessed. Mary felt blessed to accept the
I'm glad you bring this up.
Him to earth.
Hakeem, I'm glad you bring this up. So if a father is raping his daughter, right, and she just feels so blessed and so super special that daddy is just showing so much positive attention her way, that
she makes your whole premise is off. Mary didn't feel raped.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the child in this situation, Hakeem. I'm not saying the child in this situation.
Mary wasn't the child. Jesus was the child.
No, Mary was a child. She was 14 years old.
No, Mary wasn't the child. Jesus was the child, and you're silly, like whatever you're doing.
How old was Mary?
Once again, you're straying off of the facts. We were talking about you're straying off what I brought up.
How old?
Not
how
really too
old
interesting.
Was Mary?
Why is homosexuality so linked to pedophilia?
All right, look. First of all, it's not. Okay, I muted you for a second. They are two different things. People do them for two different reasons completely. They are not linked to each other. You're assuming that somebody who takes advantage of a little girl is straight. That's not the case. There are lots of people who take advantage of girls and are gay, or who are straight and take advantage of boys or whatever. They're different things. And we've moved on to a different subject because you don't know what you're fucking talking about, obviously. Now, can you engage with what we're saying, which is, how old was Mary when she was impregnated with Jesus?
What are we talking about again? You guys keep muting me off and on.
Bro, did you literally not hear a word that I just said? I can repeat the entire thing if you want. I will, because it's important to get it through your thick skull. Do you need me to repeat it?
Well, I'm not too interested in your point. I'm still trying to understand why you're deflecting away from homosexuals mostly being...
All right, look, I'm going to say it again then, because you didn't listen the first time. We'll try this again. People take advantage of different genders irrespective of their sexual orientation. Okay? It has nothing to do with their sexual orientation. Taking advantage of a kid is about the power that the person feels in doing so. So this isn't a gay straight issue as much as you want it to be. And we're moving on to a different subject now because you've been proven incorrect on that. How old was Mary when she was impregnated with Jesus? I've unmuted you again. Or wait. Hold on. It's trying. There we go. You're unmuted.
Says she was about 16 years old.
No, she was 14, actually. Is that right, John?
Okay, fine.
14. Is it okay for
so if you want to be...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, if you want to be technical about it, in Israel, typically it was about 12 and a half to 13 when, sorry, I know my video is kind of fucked up right now. It was about 12 and a half to 13 years old when they were betrothed off and they would eventually be married to
I'm so
be
confused.
raped.
Why are we talking about more than likely 2026 years ago while we have homosexuals raping children in the church today?
Homosexuals are not raping children.
Come on.
Did not hear a word.
He's not a serious caller. He's not he's here to talk at us, not with
I'm just
us.
destroying you in every topic.
No, you're not. You're painfully trying. The two brain cells in your head right now are painfully trying to make this about homosexuality when it's literally not about that.
It is about homosexuality because
no,
the vast majority
you want it to be
male
about that, but it's not that.
Boys.
It's not.
What's same sex? Answer that question. Men on men. Is that homosexuality or heterosexuality?
You literally didn't hear a word I said.
Men on men.
You're just a homophobe that wants to make pedophilia about homosexuality. That's all.
All right.
Well, no, you don't know what phobia means. Anyways, sorry, Owen. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I muted him again because I'm going to say it. I think this is the third time. When people do that to children, it isn't about gender. It's about power. This is, I offered this earlier and you rejected it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. It's a PubMed article, a scientific article where somebody went through the scientific process, a team, to figure this out. Sexual abuse of minors by Catholic clergy. PubMed Central, just Google that, PMC 6026962. And it will explain what I'm trying to communicate right now that you're just refusing to accept. Now we're going to move on to another subject or another person. Because you're refusing factual information here, and there's an impasse. You're unmuted again.
You're just hiding. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
You're just hiding behind that it's men on boys. You don't like it. It's called homosexuality.
No. Homosexuality is a description of people that engage in an attraction to the gender, as opposed to pedophiles who are attracted to the age of their victim.
They're different.
What's men on men
different
called?
Reasons. They have different everything. They're not the same at all.
Is men on men? Men on men?
Yes.
Boys,
men on men
for homosexuality.
Why are you calling children, like male children, men in this aspect? That's a red flag. Your hard drive should be searched.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You'll find nothing.
No, yeah.
Homosexuality is same sex.
I doubt
attraction to the same sex. Why is this so hard for you to comprehend?
Honestly, you say we don't need to look at your hard drive. That's what every pedophile says. And it just kind of makes me think we need to check it even harder.
Yeah.
Please do. You will find nothing. I'm not too worried about it. Once again, homosexuality is same sex. Why is the vast majority of pedophilia in the church men on boys, aka same sex, aka the detestable sin of homosexuality?
Right, I appreciate the call. I'm moving on because you are just there's nothing knocking around in there. It's just air between those ears, seemingly. So.
Yeah, the only reason why I appreciated that call was because I was able. I literally got it in there for it to be like, I can prove that you're a pedophile apologist in 5 minutes. It took less time than that.
Yeah, it was literally his first answer or something afterward. Anyway, yeah. Like I said, people do those things for different reasons. They're completely unconnected from each other. he's just being a scumbag, and for some reason, like, not addressing the fact that there are like there are people that don't fit within those bounds that take advantage of children in the church, and he's just completely ignoring and bypassing that. So anyway, complete scumbag. Anyway, yeah. So I think we can take the next call here if you're down.
Oh yeah, I'm good for it.
All
I'm
right,
primed.
cool.
That was a good appetizer.
Yeah, totally. All right. Let's bring in Alexander from, I believe, Alabama, a theist. What do you got for us, Alexander? He, him.
Hey, John. Hey, Owen. How you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Doing good.
That's good.
What do you got?
Yeah. So the question I basically have was, do the good things in the Bible mean anything to you guys? I mean, like,
I think that I think pretty much everything good in the Bible already existed elsewhere. And the Bible's
but the fact that we,
stuff.
I'm sorry.
You're good. I was just going to say it stole a lot of stuff, like the golden rule, do unto your neighbor what you would have them to do to you or whatever. That's old. That's older than the Bible. The Bible stole that. Like, anything good in there came elsewhere and existed in other cultures and societies before. So,
yeah, and I would say that those particular aspects that we would consider good from the Bible now are surfaced only because that those are characteristics of a society that actually survives and thrives and are good for a building and burgeoning society. And I think that societies since Christianity developed have only been plagued with Christianity in many different respects.
What do you think?
I agree. I guess I have another question. Is it possible to be a Christian and a humanist?
That's a good question. I mean, there obviously you can hold to both of them, but I do think that they are antithetical. Like there's compartmentalization that you could do where, you call yourself a humanist, but you're also a Christian. And the reason why I say that they're antithetical to one another is that Christianity is more concerned with what appeases God. You put God first above everything else. God is the first thing in your mind.
Opposing?
Right, they're opposing sort of concepts or like they have opposing end goals, I guess, if you will, because like I was explaining, Christianity, you're looking to appease God and God's sensibilities, whereas humanism is going to put human beings first above any other like supposed deities.
I guess that's probably the only thing I disagree with in humanism.
Wait, what?
I think there's a certain danger for people to act as though they're gods.
With humanism?
I think that has a certain danger. Wait, is that what he was saying? That humanism, when he was finishing it off there?
Yeah, I think you want to clarify what you meant, John?
Well, yeah, you like the health and well-being of fellow humans and other sentient beings. You put their health and well-being first before any other like whatever deity figure wants.
Humans come first. Is the bottom line.
My thing is, I'd be doing it for both because the God I believe in would want me to do those good things anyways, but not just for the blessings, just because it's the right thing to do. But oh.
Well, can you give us an example there?
Like of helping and also honoring God at the same time while helping people?
Right. Well, how do you honor God? Keep his laws.
Honoring the God that I believe in, I would, you keep those obviously, but I think there's a bit more to that, like just simply at the end of the day, just doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Like I'll drive by somebody,
that's not,
and you know.
Well, I mean, that's not what that's not what's in the Bible. So, like, if we want to go with what Jesus says, he says, love your God, right? And the way that you love your God is by following God's laws and commandments, right?
Right.
Okay. One of if and typically Christians like to appeal to the 10 commandments, right? So Exodus 20:17 lists women as property. Do you consider women to be your property?
No.
Okay, well then, if you don't consider women your property, then it seems like you're disobeying God here.
Look, the problem is that religion is used consistently to hurt other people. You may not. You may use religion in a productive way. Maybe your religious understanding benefits you and those around you, benefits, your family and your friends and everything. And that's fantastic. But on the whole, religion is like one of the most destructive things in society, in my opinion, because of how people use it. Not because of people like you necessarily. Like, if you're using it right, I assume you are, or not using it destructively is what I mean. But the vast majority of religious people are using it destructively. That's the problem here, So, can you be a humanist and a Christian? Yeah, but you are going to have to leave some of the Christian stuff behind because the Bible the Bible is from a culture that was violent and primitive and just not the same as our culture in any way. They married girls off at a very young age, like 12 years old, and they weren't even marrying them. They were purchasing their reproductive capacity and their virginity, like a business transaction. We don't do that today. You don't do that. Most people don't do that or even believe that's good. And religion, as a result, is vile and evil and disgusting. And if you want to be a humanist today, you have to ignore the culture that the Bible was formed under. And if you,
Yeah, I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say like that. The things in the Bible, you have cultural things, and then you have everlasting laws. But you said that was the one of the commandments, and I'd be being pretty inconsistent by picking and choosing. But
well,
that's my point. Like, why are you picking and choosing the 10 commandments in this particular respect? I mean, God says that you treat women like property. It also says that you can own slaves. Being from Alabama, that seems to be a bit problematic for us, right? I'm from Alabama too, by the way.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So with that in mind, do you think that you should be able to buy slaves from the nations around you?
No, absolutely not. But the thing is, the Bible tells you, I've been told that the Bible tells you what you need to know, not what you want to know. Like all those things, like how we have electricity today, how we change slavery laws. Maybe those things
who
were
changed
supposed
slavery
to be
laws? Because
learned at a certain time.
It wasn't Christianity that changed slavery laws. It was the secular humanism that arose.
Lincoln.
Right, but but it was driven by a humanistic. Well, I mean, Abraham Lincoln wasn't driven by a humanistic need, but like those that were leading the abolitionist movement were driven by more Enlightenment and secular humanist sort of ideals rather than Christian ideals, because Christianity says that you should be able to own slaves.
Does that like make sense? You see where we're coming from with this, where Christianity?
No, I mean, I've always like I'll go through my AI chat GPT and I'll try to reconcile this and that and try to make sense of things and try to combine science with religion. And I just feel like I'm doing a little bit too much for something that should just be. But I also do see signs in my life that always reaffirm that God is with me, and it's hard for me to.
Well, like what?
Just I don't know.
Right. No, I get being like torn about it, but yeah, if you can give us an example of like something that you feel like shows God's presence in your life.
For me specifically, it's whether it's me thinking of something in my head and then somebody answering it on a TV commercial, I'll feel like, oh, what a coincidence. It's little things that are coincidences, and then like they'll happen and then I'll go read the Bible and I was like, wait, that just happened. And, it's,
so
it all seems to just happen at the right time.
Right. So Alexander, no, I understand. I do want to kind of put this in perspective for you. And then I'd like to get Owen's take on this, but so just to put this into perspective for you there, Alexander. So you think that you think of something like while you're sitting in a lazy boy or something. I would be sitting in a lazy boy. That's why I use that example. I'm not trying to say anything about you, but like you're sitting in a chair watching TV. You think about something, and then the TV answers it, and you feel like that there's some kind of transcendental thing where God is answering you through the TV, right? At the same time,
that was kind of a simplistic example. I mean, there's more extraordinary things that happen, but that was just one example.
Well, I mean, I'm just using that as a typological sort of example there, right? So just whatever mundane thing it seems to indicate to you that God is listening to you and answering you or something like that, right? You have to recognize at the same time that this is the same God that listens to small children being raped by priests and pastors and all that all over the place, literally praying to God to make them stop, and God does not do that. Do you think that whatever message is being communicated through the TV or whatever like real event that you're talking about here, do you think that should be more important than stopping a pedophile?
No.
Okay.
Well, the problem is that, people can find hints of things in everything, literally. It's called pareidolia, where you detect things, faces, presences that just are not there. That's part of our brains. The reason that exists is because, when long and long ago, when our species was young, it was beneficial for us to assume there was something there, even if there wasn't, because if we thought something was there and we were wrong, we ran away and we lived to eat another day. If we thought there wasn't something there and we were wrong, then we're lunch. So we're kind of hardwired to assume that there's something there when there isn't, just through basic evolution. Does that make sense? I mean, is it possible that that's kind of the thing that you've experienced?
Yes, actually sums it up pretty well.
I also experienced a lot of stuff when I was little, when I was a Jehovah's Witness growing up. And I was just convinced that this was like a message from God. And after kind of leaving religion behind, I started to realize that, how many events do I experience every month, every week? Countless events, millions of events a year.
Maybe I was just a weak ass atheist, okay? But I couldn't. I mean, I was doing just fine for a while being an atheist, but then I don't know why I couldn't. It seemed like being an atheist, I couldn't control my drug addiction. I couldn't control my bad habits. And when I started believing in God, all that stuff started becoming more easy. and the signs made it more comforting and easier. And it's just I can't give all that up because I feel like
Look,
I'd be betraying something that might be there. You know,
I was also an addict. What were you addicted to? I was addicted to heroin.
Wow. What wasn't I addicted? What I recently just got off of was people lacing my damn cocaine with ice. But
right.
that's just yeah.
Well,
but
So
all that stuff
I
is
found
garbage.
that what reason or what is it about being a Christian that makes it like that has facilitated you getting clean? Is it actually Christianity, or is it just that this is the moment you've chosen to get clean?
It might be those near-death experiences, like when I had doing stuff, taking my medicine and then doing cocaine, almost having heart attacks. I would get down. I remember what Matt would say. He'd say, pray, and that stuff calms you down. But it felt like I had to actually believe in God for it to work. And it always worked. And that to me means something, because those were plenty of times where I literally could have died from being scared. And
Interesting.
I just don't know how to, I don't really know how to, I can't betray something that might be there if it's helped me through those times. And even today I'm seeing progress. I just can't give all that up. I just can't.
I'm not trying to get you to give anything up right now, but I am telling you that religion is a force for evil in the world. And I hope that you are not.
I believe
hope
that everyone uses everything for either good or bad purposes. It's all about the person at the end of the day. But
go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just going to say I can agree to that, right? Because like science, scientists can be evil at times and everything. We've seen that plenty of times in the past. So I totally sympathize with the point that you're making there. But I feel like the big difference though is that Christianity directly has immoral actions being commanded by a supposedly omnibenevolent God, and that is where it's bad, because then it becomes, it becomes that God is the grounding for what's good, and it can convince people to do horrible things because they think that it's a good thing in reality. Totally. And so like that's the problem there. I'm sorry for interrupting, Owen. You go ahead.
You're good. What's that saying? Religion makes good people do bad things, or something to that effect. There's a whole saying there. I don't remember what it is, but religion facilitates evil. Like where it wasn't there previously, it is now there. And maybe you are a Christian who isn't bad, who uses it for good reasons. That's fantastic. But I honestly don't think people should take that risk generally,
But don't you guys think that some lessons have to be taught the hard way through tough love? Like some things I would not have learned had I not been through certain bad experiences. I'm not trying to justify that. Like
what kind of tough love?
Trying to be a big-hearted individual.
What tough love do you think people need to experience? Like, what tough love do people need? Can you give me an example? Is what I'm asking.
Like how I was constantly going around picking up anybody I saw just to be big-hearted and give them a ride because I felt like it was the right thing to do. I've had people try to take advantage of me doing that, take change out of my car, and not that I still don't do it, but it's taught me to show myself a little bit more respect, I guess, if that makes sense.
Not sure how that connects to Jesus, though.
Yeah. Wait, could you please repeat the word that you said, driving around being, what was that?
Like,
I'm sorry, just not sure if
like a homeless person needs change, or I'll see somebody who seems like they're walking a long distance and I might be nice and take them somewhere and drop them off, or somebody needs a jump start, just anything, walking a lady across the street, just anything you do can possibly have bad consequences for doing it. That lady might have pepper spray. I mean, maybe I'm just thinking about it a little too hard, but
I agree that like choices have consequences, but we should minimize those like bad choices, right? It's beneficial and good to help others generally, I would say. Like holding the door for somebody is virtuous. It's good. It's nice. You just want to be a good, nice person in society to other people. But what actual benefit does Christianity provide to anybody? Like it provides nothing that you can't get elsewhere, but it does come with a lot of baggage necessarily that you can't separate from it. Like the fact that the Bible endorses slavery and instructs people on how to do it properly and things like that, you know.
yeah,
And
I agree.
when I got clean, it was like 15 years ago. It was a long time ago now, but uh I went to some NA classes or whatever, NA meetings, I mean, and found that
Those
secular.
classes don't do shit. And I
Yeah, I
actually
know.
told them about themselves. I told them how disgusting I thought it was that
Yeah.
one of the what is it? One of the things, the rules or whatever they call it, that you have to have you have to believe in in a higher being in order to do this. I told them that was completely unfair for people that didn't believe, and
Yeah.
but
And they also
now that
don't
I do believe,
accept people taking any other medicines. So, like, they don't accept people who take Suboxone, for example. And I think that's just stupid and destructive. But that's neither here nor
there are a
there.
lot of rehabs that don't take people that take certain stuff either, and
I have,
that's why I
in
had to
my
quit everything on my
experience,
own.
the way that I see it, secular therapy has been so much more valuable, helpful, and productive than NA or AA could have possibly ever been. There is a non-religious alternative that is 100 times better, and that translates over to real life in general. There is always something better for you than religion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Did we lose you?
Yeah, I suppose we're talking about religion,
I mean, religion, Christianity, the Bible is destructive at its core. People can use it for good or for bad, but why risk it when there are better alternatives? What do you
I
think?
don't understand why. I agree, but I don't understand why. Like it's like these two gangs running our country, like Republic or Democrat. Why can't we have a system that everyone just takes the good and leaves all the bad out, or tries to weed as much bad out and keep as much good as possible? It has to be one this way or the other way. You gotta either take all this or take all that. And
I'll tell you why.
I don't.
Because the people in power who are directing these groups, Republicans, Democrats, or whoever else, those people are trying to get something out of it. And they push it in directions that will benefit them. And that goes for Christianity as well. People try to benefit from whatever position they're in. And that's why it's better to just not be a part of religion generally. Now, in this case, with politics, that's more complicated because we're in a serious situation in the United States. But yeah, you know what I mean? Oop. Siri, stop. Oh
Yeah.
my God, Siri's trying to tell me something about web results or something. Anyway, well, anything else you wanted to mention to us before we move on to the next caller?
No, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys' time.
All right. Thank you for calling. We'll talk to you next time then. Awesome. Yeah, interesting. Well, sounds like you're on a road that you are going to have to walk, and I've been there. So good luck with it. Religion
Yeah,
poisons everything.
And I just wanted to point out, I wasn't trying to make him leave his religion or anything like that. Plus, I said that before I knew that he was, recovering addict and everything. But I just wanted to put it into perspective. Like whenever he thinks that like God is answering him and everything like that, like that's one of the things that, when I came out of religion, I really reconsidered. It's like, I really thought that God was answering me for these things, but then, there's all these other horrible things that are happening, but God took time out of his day to answer my one little petty question. And that always kind of really struck me like hard.
Problem for me is, again, I'm an ex-addict. I exited addiction, and I even have a degree in substance abuse counseling. And I know that NA and AA set out to replace the addiction kind of center of your brain with God because they're the same center. God and Coke act very similarly on your brain. And that's why NA and AA have had any degree of success. And that's a problem for me because when people give up on religion, suddenly there's nothing there to prevent them from like doing drugs. They should not build it on God in the first place. And I want to move people away from God being their reason for not doing drugs. It's a flawed reason and destructive and damaging and awful in every single way. Anyway, it's just my soapbox. All right. Wow, we've got a lot of callers. Okay, let's see. Hang on, give me a second here. Just trying to find the ones that have been waiting the longest because I don't want people to wait too long. We're going to bring in Anthony, him from New Jersey. Is art an argument for God? What do you got for us, Anthony?
What up, gang? Can you hear me?
Yes.
How's it going,
great.
blood?
I think that was kind of like, to be fair, that's what I said, but that was kind of like an oversimplification of what I was asking. I just more or less wanted to get y'all's reaction to this quote. This is from the comment. This is a comment from Alex O'Connor's interview with Robert Barron. This is what it says in part. It says, I know that this is a deeply unpopular opinion, but as a lifelong skeptical seeker of God, I found that poetry brings me infinitely closer to faith than purely rational argument. So I'm just wondering what y'all take on something like that.
Who was it?
That was a comment under Alex O'Connor's interview with Robert Barron.
Got it. I think that's fucking stupid. Yeah, I just don't have any. I can feel a connection to art and the world around me and nature and whatever other thing without God. I don't feel it brings me closer to anything except for just nature, I guess.
Yeah, I'm wondering what part of that resonates with you. Like why do you think that which I'm guessing this is like the argument from beauty, right? Is what you're talking about here. What part of beauty or what part of this art do you think connects you to God?
Well, and to be fair, like the lowercase art, like music, movies, et cetera. I mean, isn't it true that only a human being can be truly moved by art?
I don't think that's the case. Yeah, I don't know that we have any way to know that.
I would because we do have so I mean we do have certain other sentient, semi-sentient like animals in the animal kingdom that do like make art. So I could only assume that they are somehow moved or feel something. They experience something when they see that kind of art. I'm fairly certain that you can go on the internet and find, various things. I think I seem to remember a dog like painting art and being proud of some art, stuff like that. At least experiencing that kind of emotion.
Well, I'm sure a dog can make, like a painting of, if you train a dog to make a painting of a sun or something. But I mean, pretty much any human being, or the vast majority of them anyway, can say that they've been moved by, truly moved by a movie or a song or a book or something like that. I don't think any
what does it mean to be moved?
Any cat has ever. What was that?
What does it mean? What does it mean to be moved?
To be moved, to be, that's a good question. I guess to see the human experience reflected and to be in an emotional state because of that.
Well, so hold on. It feels like now that you're loading up the entire discussion by boxing us into a human experience as opposed to just the experience itself.
Well, I'm saying if I get that's a fair point. So I guess I should, if it's true that only human beings can do that, you know, that would mean that human beings are special from animals. And so, you know, I would think maybe it's a little corny to say. Well,
we are animals.
Fair enough. Other animals. I would say human beings are special from other animals, and maybe this is a little corny, but you know, I think I wouldn't say the term is supernatural, but I don't think where's the scientific explanation for that then, for to be moved by art?
Oh, I mean, that's just a chemical reaction happening in your brain. A complex central nervous system reacts to those chemicals, and you experience, you know, the sensation of it. It causes all that. So this thing that you're talking about is an emergent property of a brain, as opposed to like some kind of mystical experience. What are your thoughts, Owen?
Yeah, it's like with AI, for example. First of all, we don't know how far AI is going to go. It may at some point be able to interpret and have feelings about this in some rudimentary fashion. So we're going to need to factor that in. It's not just about animals, but in addition to that, oh shit, it completely flew right out of my head. Shoot, it was right there. Anyway, AI has emergent properties as well. Like, we didn't expect AI to be able to code, for example, but when a neural net reaches a certain size or whatever, or a certain level of training, things just kind of emerge and happen. And that's exactly what happens with humans. It's just a chemical reaction that emerges at a certain point.
So why do you think that this isn't something that other animals can do?
I think they do. I think they can.
Yeah, we're saying that they do. You're saying that they don't, or at least you're loading up your syllogism there.
Well, can animals be moved by art?
I mean, well, so again, that's kind of a loaded thing because you're saying art because the art that you've defined is human created art, right? I would think that for other animals, they would have different perceptions of like what they are proud of or what they are moved by in that particular case. Like, you know, you could go just as a quick example, thinking off the top of my head here, you can definitely see the animals being moved by like, you know, being proud of like a mother dog being proud of her puppies or something of that nature, right? You could see that on in the behavior and everything like that of the animal. We don't have to have like direct confirmation. We can see it in their behavior. So like you can definitely see that in other animals. It's just I wouldn't load it up by defining something in a purely human way. You would have to define it a bit generically in order to be able to identify it in other animals.
Well, but I mean, you just acknowledged that. Well, I'm not trying to do a gotcha moment here, but didn't you just acknowledge that other animals, it doesn't happen where they're not moved by creative expression? You talked about a mother dog being proud of her puppy. That doesn't have anything to do with creative expression.
I'm saying that the need for it to be creative expression is loading up the conversation from the get-go in order to create a circular argument back to where you want the conclusion to go. That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you, are animals capable of feeling proud of something? Do you think? Yeah, there's a real objective answer to this.
From what I understand, I think that's the case, at least in certain animals.
Yes. And there are cases where animals have done certain things or like designed things or created a nest that they could feasibly be proud of, or like a dog painting something or whatever. There are cases where animals can be proud of their art or be satisfied with their art. I mean, I guess it depends on how you use the terms or whatever, but yeah.
Right. So like a cat can be, sorry, I'm just going to give another example. Like a cat can be proud of their art of their predatory behavior. Like when a cat leaves the house and comes back with a dead rodent or something like that, leaves it on the steps. They're proud of the fact that they feel like they're providing for the family or whatever that is. I mean, but it's the fact that they're proud of of their predatory skills, right? So it's like the art of the hunt kind of thing can be seen as art in this particular situation. So that's why I was saying, like, the way that you're loading up the conversation seems to be focused solely on what humans consider art, as opposed to what, like, if we were to extend this to other animals in the animal kingdom, you would have to consider, well, what would they be proud of, or what would they be, quote unquote, moved by?
Right, and there is some degree of sentience.
I'm not talking about being. I'm not talking about being proud. I'm talking about to be truly moved, to be moved to tears. That doesn't really happen in the animal kingdom. And plus, I would say that I wouldn't
dogs
say that
cry.
I wouldn't say that grabbing. I wouldn't say that. Well, I can get to that, but I wouldn't say that grabbing mice is an art. That I would compare that much more to a parent or a spouse being proud that they can provide for their family.
Okay, it seems like you're moving the goalpost a bit now, because you said moved by, and now you're moving it to moved to tears. So
well, that's an example. Would you say pride is to be proud is to be moved? I don't think anyone would say that.
Okay,
I feel incredible.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I feel incredibly moved when I'm like congratulated on something or whatnot, or I'm shown some kind of acknowledgement at work that I've done a good job or something like that. I'm very proud of myself, and that moves me. Like, I don't. You tried to define moved earlier, and it just kind of. I guess maybe we need to redefine it, or maybe revisit like what you mean by moved in this situation.
There is sentience with animals.
Yeah, there are.
Well, I never said there was no sentience with animals. I never said that. But I would just
we're on
say,
the same page.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As far as you said, dogs. Well, to go back to your point about pride, I mean, you would be moved by other people congratulating you, but number one, that's more of an external thing. Most not all people. But I think most of the time when someone is moved, it has to do with external, other people, either by other people's work, or other people's reactions, or other people's words. And also, I mean, to be moved because it's not just because you're proud of something; it's because you're having an emotional reaction to something. And also, as far as dogs crying, I mean, dogs cry because, because of because of things directly in their lives, like their puppies or their owner. That doesn't have anything to do with creative expression. I wouldn't say that anyway.
Why does it have to be creative expression? That's my question.
Because it's something that only humans are capable of. You said that we're reducing it to something that only humans are capable of. I mean, that's kind of the point. The fact that no animal can do this, well, at least.
Well, no. I mean, so the thing that
to a certain extent, to a certain extent, dogs. Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, you're the one that's reducing it to something that's specifically only humans, because you're trying to create a circular argument that only leads to like only humans do this thing. What I was suggesting is that you'd have to expand that to take it out of the human pocket and put it into a much larger pocket of like what these animals would be experiencing and how to describe that. But I mean, we are great apes, part of the great ape family, and there are definitely apes, other apes out there that are not Homo sapiens that experience like the same kind of joy and pride and everything like that when they create art, when they do paintings and everything like that. Like, you can find bonobos or other apes out there that do those kinds of things, and they definitely feel pride. We've even been able to teach them like sign language so that they can directly communicate that to us.
Is there, and this is a serious question, has there ever been of course humans are apes. Like, I'm not a younger creationist or something like that. But has there ever been an ape, a non-human ape anyway, that's been moved by a painting or a film or a song?
We don't know, but it's totally conceivable and realistic.
I don't think that's very realistic. And just, if there's no evidence, how can we put our faith in it that it's true?
Okay, I'm not putting my faith in anything, but let's try to wrap back around. What is your claim exactly? Like, what's the point you're trying to prove by disproving the idea that animals or non-human animals experience are moved by something or feel emotion or whatever.
I guess this is a form of the argument from beauty, that the fact that regular animals can't do something like this, can't be moved by art or can't create it. I mean, that would have to show something special about the human race.
Right, but you haven't actually established that they can't. You haven't established that. No. I was saying we
I don't know if it was you or the co-host, but you just acknowledged that apes cannot be moved by art. Y'all said that.
We didn't say that. We said we don't know.
It could happen. Well, we don't know. Why put your faith that it could happen? There's no evidence, right?
I'm not putting faith into it.
Well, we can't observe it, so why assume it's true?
So here's the thing. No, so here's the thing. It's not blind faith. Quit saying that. Like, you keep saying wrong things, and it's just wrong. It's still wrong, no matter how many times you say it. But what we're saying is that, well, we don't know, right? So, like, we can definitely find out. But we're not making any kind of finite claims here. You're the one that's making the finite claim that they can't.
Well, the gentleman just said it's definitely possible. How can you say it's definitely possible?
It's definitely possible. How can you say it's impossible? Anything is possible. Literally, the sun blinking out right now is definitely possible. Not likely, but it's possible. Your claim requires that it's
extraordinarily implausible. Should I walk around tomorrow as if the sun is going to explode?
Hang on, please. Just a second, please. Just a second. Your claim requires it to not be true. And I'm saying it absolutely is possible that apes feel emotion about things, or that they are moved by things, and that.
Well, I acknowledge that apes feel emotion. That's pretty much been recorded. That
they're moved by art. It's possible they're moved by art. You have to disprove that for your claim to be true.
I think you're shifting the burden of proof, because that's literally never happened. At least it's never been recorded happening.
It's not the shifting the burden of proof here, because we're not making a finite claim about anything. We're not making some kind of like concrete claim that we would need to then support, right? Because like Owen said, anything is fucking possible. You gaining at least one more brain cell to have this conversation is possible, however unlikely.
Crash that, brother.
But I'm not crashing out, but the point is that you're making a very finite statement in that it's impossible, right? I mean, or at least you're making the statement that we somehow have proven that it can't
implausible.
But
then support that statement. Support that statement.
It's literally never happened before.
That's not supporting the statement.
And you don't know that anyway.
It's the black swan fallacy. You ever heard of it?
Well, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay, cool. I can educate you here in just 1 second, because this is an easy Google. Like, I do this all the time. So let's see, black swan fallacy. This is like fucking textbook right here. All right, so normally it's logically fallacious that I go to. Yeah, okay, it's technically called the ludic fallacy, assuming flawless statistical models apply to situations where they actually don't. Let's see. I wonder if they actually have like a black swan. There's a technical definition for it. The black swan fallacy is the error of assuming that just because something about black swan has not been observed in the past, it cannot occur in the future. It highlights the limitations of induction and experience-based forecasting, as individuals often mistake the absence of evidence for evidence of absence. Right? So you're making the claim that it's not nearly impossible. Like, the likelihood of it being impossible is so great that it's basically impossible, but that is fallacious reasoning.
Right, because black swans, we had never observed black swans before. So people assumed that black swans don't exist, but actually they do. We discovered them. I believe in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Australia.
So why do you think something like that is then why do you think something like that is possible then?
Because I have no proof that it's not possible. And yeah, that's why. Because I have no proof that it's not possible.
I can shoot lasers out of my eyes. Can you prove that's impossible?
Yes.
You would need to.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we wouldn't need to prove it impossible. You would need to prove it, because you're the one making the claim that you can do it.
And assuming that you fit within the bounds of every other human being on planet Earth, no other human beings can shoot lasers. It's physiologically impossible. So it's safe to assume, until proven otherwise, that it's not the case.
Fair enough. That's actually fair enough. That's a good example. I think there's someone on this planet who can shoot lasers out of their eyes.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Well, it's possible, isn't it? It's certainly possible.
Oh yeah, sure, it's possible, but just like Owen explained, we can come to the conclusion that it's highly unlikely, but that's not us saying that it is impossible. That's saying, well, it's unlikely to be true, but it can be overcome by providing evidence. So you provide evidence that there's somebody on this planet that can shoot lasers out of their eyes, like Superman. Superman technically has heat vision, but laser, whatever. You would need to be able to prove that. So if you Cyclops is a better example there. Yeah. Do you know of Cyclops?
I think Superman was a fine example from the X-Men. I think Superman was a fair example, though.
No. That's heat. He conducts heat out of his eyes. He doesn't shoot lasers out of his eyes. Cyclops would be shooting a plasma-based laser out of his eyes. I don't know why we're discussing the scientific shit of magical beings. We are talking about God, so.
Yeah.
Well, so would you, and I'm not sure whether you agree with this, what is said without evidence can be disregarded without evidence.
It's a Hitchens razor, and yeah, if you're gonna ad hoc state something without any kind of justification, then we're perfectly within our rights to just reject it because you haven't actually supported it.
Which is what you did.
Well, so what was that?
Which is what you did. You asserted something with no evidence, so we're going to reject it.
Well, I'm just saying that, if the evidence is, if it's never, ever happened before in God knows how long, I don't know why I should go around acting like it's possible.
Because we don't know that it's never happened. You don't know that it's never happened. I don't know that it's never happened. It very well could happen every single day. We're not in the minds of animals.
I respect the scientific community too much that they wouldn't know something like this.
Oh, please.
Oh, I do want to bring something up that was put in our production chat, that birds, and thank you so much, Lux, for putting this in the chat there. Birds, they dance, which is a creative expression, and their mates are moved to become infatuated and mate with them. There are elephants that cry, they scream, and poop my pants. What?
No, that's totally different. That message is unrelated.
Okay. Sorry. So sorry. I didn't mean to read that. Some chatters are saying that elephants dance to music. There are a lot. I'm so sorry about that, Lux. Shit.
Reading it. No, that's funny. Anyway, yeah. So the bird thing is a great example, though. Birds.
Did you say the birds dance to mate? Is that right?
Well,
yes.
They dance to entice their mates.
And their mates feel
expression.
Artistic. Birds are moved. Birds are moved by the artistic expression of their mate. It's a prime example.
Is that what? So, I mean, I'm not so. The example you're giving me for animals to dance to find a mate. I mean, I wouldn't. That's just seduction. That's
Are
not
you going
art.
to move the? You're going to move the goalpost again? Then I see. Is that the goal now?
Well,
you're going to move the goalpost.
They're not doing it for creative expression. They're doing it to mate. They're doing it to mate. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. They're moved. Not moved.
What?
They're not
what
moved,
doesn't make
they're
sense
horny.
about it?
They're not moved. They're horny.
Okay.
Me seeing cleavage, I'm not moved.
No, you're not.
Oh God! Please, let's not go down this.
I might be excited, but I'm not moved.
I think I could describe it as moved for at least myself and some other people.
I can move. Well, something's
even
moving,
to tears,
but not.
I could even be moved. I could even be moved to tears by cleavage, I would argue.
Well, I can assure you, usually something is moving, but I wouldn't say I'm being moved. If you catch my drift.
Okay.
Oh my God!
The point is you're moving the goalposts. That's the point here. That's
right,
what you're.
And And I feel like you're moving the goalpost because we're stating that you have set up a situation to only get one answer, and that's that God exists because of the argument from Beauty. And when we try to actually apply,
I wouldn't say that's the only reason I think God exists, but it is.
No. I'm not saying that that's the only reason that you think God exists, but we are having a conversation about what?
Your friend literally just said the word "it." Your friend just said the word "it is." That's what he just said.
Said what?
I
said
it just said the words "it is."
It is what?
It is what?
I don't understand.
All right. If
I did not say.
Fair enough. If I misheard it, fair enough.
No. I'm saying in this discussion, in this context that we're talking about here, the context of the argument from Beauty, you need it to only apply to humans so that you can get to your predetermined destination of God exists, right? So you're doing everything that you can to move the goalposts and keep shifting the goalposts so that we can only consider human art. We can only consider human experiences. We can only consider human expressions of being quote unquote moved. So you keep reforming all of this so that you only put it in a human context, therefore automatically ruling out other expressions and other emotions that animals would feel for different things. So you keep trying to box us into this, and I don't know. I feel like we're going around in circles. We're up shit creek with one paddle, and
yeah. So let me just ask one more question. We're gonna let you go.
Fair enough.
Try to resolve this. Can you define art?
Art. Well, it's a little tough, but I would say people using the senses to recreate the human
why are
experience.
People involved? Why are people in the definition?
That's what I've just fucking said too.
Why'd you put people in there?
I really don't.
You're giving us a circle.
What was that?
You're giving us a circle. We're going in a circle. You've created a circular reasoning thing here.
Well, you just asked me. Well, okay. I just want to ask. You're saying that by me using the word human, that's creating a circular definition to get to a pre-established destination. That's what you're saying?
Yes, basically.
Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if animals can't be moved by art, then they don't create art in the same way. So yeah.
Prove that.
All right. With that one, we're going to move on. I appreciate the phone call.
I thank you for the time.
All right. We'll talk to you next time then.
Eric is going to be on tomorrow. Please call back.
There you go.
With me. Lux, you're going to do that to me again?
You don't have to actually participate.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was an interesting one for sure. I
like how we painstakingly went through all that, and then at the very end, he's like, "Let me repeat everything I was wrong about right here at the end yet again."
I thought if I could get more abstract and just say art, maybe he would, be abstract in his definition. But no.
I want to just pat myself on the back, stroke my member just a little bit here, because 2 for 2 calls, I've been able to predict exactly how the people are going to respond, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good not to toot your own horn.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, we're going to bring in the next one. I'm going to run just for 1 second, and I'll be right back if you want to take this one.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Let's bring in, hang on. I'm sorry, I'm just looking here. Okay, let's bring in Matthew from Oklahoma, theist. I believe Matthew we spoke to already, but you're calling back because it dropped or whatever. Are you there?
Yes, and
awesome.
I guess I'll start off with a couple apologies first because of the interruption that happened that caused me to have to leave, and second for I believe I accidentally interrupted Mr. Gleason there a couple times near the beginning, and I apologize for that as well. But I think after that, I think we can continue. My topic is going to be largely the same.
Right. So you were explaining how you take joy in seeing people executed. right?
I don't. I don't take any necessary. I don't take any pleasure in anything like that. I just think that, well, for example, you and I, we talk about, you know, the logic and reasons for following morality, but the reality is that the vast majority of people on this planet aren't discussing these things, and they follow much more carrot and stick sort of reward versus punishment life. And I think that
Right.
we need to
So which right. Hold on. Let's just blow past all of this like preemptive stuff right here. What laws that would be carrot and stick stuff from the Bible do you think should be implemented in the U.S. Governmental system?
Not necessarily any of them. See, this when I was talking about Christianity, I was using it as an example for a system of control. But for I myself particularly, I wouldn't even necessarily consider myself that much of a Christian. In fact, I almost consider myself to be deconstructing from religion entirely. I my my position is simply that the way Christianity was able to kind of give a more, I guess, existential idea of what you should or shouldn't do. Not necessarily the laws that are in Christianity specifically, but its method, I believe, can be highly effective, and it can be,
Its method.
and it has been repeated.
What method? What method?
Obedience through reward and punishment-based systems.
Okay, you're not differentiating Christianity from any other kind of system that also does that. So, what about Christianity specifically do you think, like you're talking about rewards and punishments? I started off by asking you, well, what punishments or what laws from the Bible should we be implementing? And you refused to answer that question because you somehow denied it. Now we're back to that question here. What kind of punishments from the Bible do you think should be implemented? Like, do you think that LGBTQ individuals need to be executed?
No, I don't. While I do consider myself very right wing, I disagree with a lot of my.
So you're that kind of dumbass. I gotcha.
No, I disagree with a lot of my fellow right wingers on the idea of like, I don't necessarily care that much about like what people do in their like personal lives that don't necessarily cause any great societal harm. So when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues, I am not necessarily that opposed to them.
Okay, well,
and
you understand the reason
punishment is necessary.
Right. Well, see, all this ends up being is just cherry picking what out of the Bible you think needs to be applied, or what particular sticks you want to use from the Bible in order to beat people into submission with. Which is rather, again, when you first called in, psychopathic in general, I feel. Maybe sociopathic, maybe not psychopathic, but maybe sociopathic.
Well, I am technically diagnosed with ASPD, and on the hair checklist, I scored a 32 out of 40, so technically I am medically diagnosed in that sense, but so I do find it difficult to kind of see the world through a, I guess, more empathetic or emotional sort of lens. I can only really see it through a more, it's much more mechanical for me, I suppose. But I believe that as much as I enjoy the talking about the philosophical implications of right and wrong and what we consider to be right and wrong, I think my position is simply that there are more humans than not that are not necessarily concerned with the philosophical implications and the philosophical aspects of morality. And I think that the law should be more attentive to that, I suppose. And it largely is in a lot of ways, really. But
Go ahead, Owen.
Okay. Can you tell me? I kind of came in on this conversation like partway through. I believe you're the guillotine guy, right? Who said
Yeah,
that
he is.
guillotines are bad?
no. Well, the guillotines are bad. Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
Okay. So, what is your reason for believing in God? Then you are a theist, is that right?
Well, not well. So I would almost consider myself to be deconstructing. I find atheistic
Okay.
arguments to be very persuasive myself. So
Okay.
so that's I wouldn't necessarily. I might call in as like either atheist next time or whatever, because I'm not entirely sure about that. But
Okay. Well, cool. I mean, I feel like we've resolved what we had to resolve then. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
I suppose not.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for calling, and maybe we'll talk to you again, all right?
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's bring in, actually, we have another person who says they're spiritual. We've got Cortez from New Jersey. He, him. What do you got for us, Cortez?
I've been listening to the podcast and everything like that.
Okay.
For me, I walk with God, and for me, it's more about how y'all use the position of the Bible to say the Bible is crooked and wrong because it was made by the Bible, made by mankind's hands. But at the same time, not recognizing how the Bible is only reflecting our own nature. That's it. That's all the Bible is. It's
The
only
Bible just
reflecting
reflects our own nature, you say?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's the history facts of what I believe Jesus being in mankind's flesh and mankind's presence to show mankind errors to him and actually letting mankind go through that history book of seeing Jesus in the flesh and understanding how Jesus sometimes it didn't always seem wise to us, was trying to correct our own behavior to only have a relationship with him.
Okay.
What behavior?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Owen.
All right, I'll go, I guess. I don't think I fully understand, like, the point. Try to bridge that gap for me. You're saying that the Bible is just a method of like a mirror that reflects back on us or whatever? I'm not sure I understand fully.
Yes, it's a mirror showing how we acted, how we behave. Now, you can
that's bad,
criticize,
right?
you can, no, it's actually the truth. And the truth will set you free. See,
But
this is the
the
thing.
Bible's awful. Isn't the Bible like absolutely awful in like all the way through it?
No, it's showing how we behave,
Do
not
you
how
think?
God.
Yeah, but God condones and explains why our bad behavior was good. Like slavery, for example. Is slavery good?
No.
Then why did God condone it and explain how to do it?
He was trying to explain a way to create unity between two people. Now, he couldn't just say.
How is slavery? How is slavery unity? How does that create unity?
He was at that time, when it comes to our society at that time, he was trying to have unity through peace conversations with other people that wouldn't look at other people's mankind or kindness.
Hold on, Cortez, are you driving right now? And are you Christianing and driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm.
We heard
I'm
the
in a
GPS,
Uber.
Cortez. We heard the
I'm in
GPS
a
say to turn
Uber.
right.
Yes, I'm in a Uber.
Oh, you're in an
I'm not
Uber.
driving.
Poor Uber
Yes.
driver.
I'm so sorry for
Okay.
that Uber driver.
All right, look,
Yeah,
I don't think I like the things that you're saying about the Bible are confusing and nonsensical. I'm wondering if what you have to say about wokeism is equally as confusing and nonsensical because the note here says woke does not lead to justice. Do you feel that way?
Yes,
Okay, why? Dare I ask?
because woke is only about the intention of trying to seek justice for wrong, and that's good. But the methodology or the approach can be wrong.
Okay, hold on. I didn't hear a word that you just said. I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm wondering if you can define woke for us first.
You're hard to hear is the
Okay.
problem.
All right.
You can get a little closer to the mic and then
Can you
define
hear
woke
me
for us.
now?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
All right. Wokeism is about the persecution of someone else doing wrong to another human being. Now, that could be good, but the persecution, yes, it is. That's my opinion.
Okay, well,
that's my opinion.
That's your opinion. You can't. So tell me something that's woke. Give me some kind of concrete example of wokeism.
Race swapping in movies.
Race swapping in movies? What the fuck is? What do you mean? Like what? Can you give me an example of what you mean by that?
When it came down to actors playing roles about other people and other cultures that they don't belong to.
Like what?
I mean, for me, if I had to think off the top of my head, I would say, oh fuck, it's a lot of movies out there.
There aren't. That's the point. That's the point. There aren't. There are not a lot of movies where this happens. In fact, I can think of a single movie, one where that could even possibly be arguable that happened. Do you know what the movie is?
What?
It's The Little Mermaid. However, The Little Mermaid is fictitious. It's a story that was made up, and Disney can put any person they want in that movie.
Well, so I actually thought of an older example. Hold on, there's an older example. One time, John Wayne played Genghis Khan, and so there's some. So I mean, that would be racism right there. Like we're in woke, like quote unquote woke people. You know that we're against racism. We don't believe that you should be racist.
Okay, but then what is your solution? If you're saying that you don't want another culture playing another culture in a movie, then what is your solution?
We literally got him to argue from the wrong side. He's completely backwards from where he was a second ago.
Okay, but what is your solution?
I don't have a problem with other people playing other roles or whatever. If it's a historical figure, I think that historical figure should be represented accurately, unless it's like some kind of an artistic expression like Hamilton or something. That's its whole separate thing.
I mean,
but if it's a story from like Disney, who gives a fuck if the mermaid is black or white or pink or purple? Like nobody gives a shit. Why do you care?
I don't care.
They decide
I don't care about the Little Mermaid.
That's what you were just complaining about.
What do you care about? Holy fuck! Give us a real example.
I care about what you said. Like what you said when it comes to the historic images of people and other cultures.
When did that happen?
Cortez, Cortez, just tell us that you're angry that Black Santa exists. I feel like that's where we're leaving.
No, I love,
okay.
I'm African. I love my history. I love seeing African actors playing African culture's roles. But at the same time, when it comes to whoa, okay, we move on to another thing because I may not be able to bring up an example, and that's my fault.
Look, I want to point something out here. I want to point something out here, Cortez. You can't bring up an example because it's not happening, and it's a fictitious culture war issue that was fabricated by Republicans to piss people off when it's not happening anywhere, and you fell for it.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
African people wasn't saying the same thing a long time ago, or midgets or disabled people wasn't saying the same thing.
What the fuck?
I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're talking about. You're saying
that African folks in America complained about roles they wasn't getting in movies when it came down to a African character after African character being played on
there's
a big
been
screen.
race. Yes, there's been racism in Hollywood, and like the current culture is trying to correct that by giving, by giving actors like the correct roles, trying to diversify the roles, the lead roles, and everything like that, like making the Little Mermaid black, which was perfectly fine. I don't understand what your complaint is. I just feel like you're angry at the woke people because somebody told you to be angry at the woke people, and you did this. You did this before you had 3 shots of Jack.
Yes.
How many shots?
I'm asking how far woke really want to do. Because
how many shots?
I love the fact that yes, justice is happening and people are standing up.
What are we arguing about? I have no idea what we're even discussing.
I'm lost. I'm straight lost.
Discussing how far wokeism is going. What's the limit? When are we going to stop judging every Caucasian person for their past history?
Would somebody think of the white people?
I know. No one is doing that, Cortez. That's not happening.
Yes, it is. Why is a woke slogan of punishing every Caucasian for something their great-granny did?
Nobody.
Who's doing that?
So
I'm going to guess 6, by the way, John.
African
I'm going to guess
people.
6. 6 shots.
Six shots. Cortez, how many shots in are you?
I'm going to ask. So, African folks can't be racist towards Caucasians.
No, no one said that.
I'm asking a question.
Yes, they can be racist. Everybody can be racist. Yes.
Okay, so when I pointed out why it's so ridiculous for me to say to talk about it.
It's not. I'm saying that you're pissed off over fictitious things that aren't real, that nobody's actually doing. Now, I got to ask you a question, and I'm 100% serious here. Please give me the answer. How many shots? 6?
Why you have to belittle me? I'm angry for a point. Yes, I am pissed off when I see good efforts, when I see the Black movement, Black Lives Movement, do fucked up shit for African people when they're trying to help African people, but they're on the news being investigated for a crime. Like, I want to see my African folks do good. I want them to go to school. I want them to be successful. I want Caucasians to be successful. But at the same time, where's the limit? Do we want justice?
So Cortez, if you're asking about like where do we stop, it would be the equitable treatment of people, so that people have the ability to have equitable access to all outcomes. So I mean, that I would say that that's what woke people are trying to to do here, which you haven't even defined woke, really. We don't even know what the fuck you're talking about with woke.
And I think they're doing a poor job because they're not strategizing or talking about what they really want. Yeah, I'm talking to you right now, and you explained it very clearly to me, and thank you. But at the same time, when you see on the news and see all these people talking about progressive issues and progressive politics and everything like that, I don't see the same message.
Name one progressive position that you disagree with. Name one progressive position that you disagree with.
I disagree with abortion. I disagree.
Okay.
When it comes down to
you want to kill
children.
You want to kill women, and considering that outlawing abortion disproportionately affects the African American, the black community in America, it kind of seems like you want to kill off women in your own community. Why would you want to do that?
No, I want women to stop killing Africans, young Africans.
No, then you shouldn't vote for Trump. Did you vote for Trump?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad you didn't vote for Trump, but that's not the women having access to abortion care, to reproductive care like abortion, is not killing Africans at all. That it's health care. That's what that is.
They have
killing a young child. That is killing.
No, it's not killing a young child. It's literally getting rid of a grouping of cells, nothing more. And oftentimes
that's a young child.
No, it isn't.
It's not a
grouping
child
of cells. And more often than not, it's literally necessary for the person's life. Like, they will die if they don't get this. Seriously. Like, my wife she's pregnant and she's having a kid soon. We are having a kid, I guess. And it was scary because, pregnancy is dangerous, like very, very dangerous. And people don't understand or credit pregnancy for how dangerous it really is a lot of the time. And people are going to die if they don't have access to this.
I agree with you. Pregnancy can be dangerous. Congratulations on you having a kid.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. My talking point is that when it comes down to, for me as a African and also as a person that walks with God, shedding blood of the innocent human being that didn't do nothing to you is killing.
Not a human being. It's a group of cells.
Well, yeah, it's not a human being, for one. For two, but your God actually has a concoction in the Bible that he prescribes to women that potentially have slept with another man, for them to basically abort a baby if they happen to be pregnant with another man's kid. So your God is perfectly fine with abortion.
Yeah, that's Numbers 5:11-23. And God specifically instructs women to take this concoction called bitter water that the priest whips up, and it will abort the baby. That's what Numbers 5:11-23 says.
I mean, that's what you said.
No, that's what the Bible says.
That's what God says.
I have to read it. I have to read it.
Write it down.
That's what it says. Right now, I'll write it down, but I want to talk to y'all. I'm having a conversation with y'all. Okay? I mean,
so,
yes,
all right. So let's start here then. Let's say, hypothetically, the Bible does say that you should get an abortion if you cheat on your husband, for example. How does that change your view?
Yeah, but I didn't read the context of how that chapter came about. Like I said, to me, the Bible is a history book showing the relationship between Jesus and the flesh and mankind.
Okay, first of all, it's not a history book, but all right, fine. So the Bible says you should have an abortion. Suddenly you don't feel that they're children anymore?
No, I still see them as children.
Why does God not treat them as children in other parts of the law? Like, for instance, they don't. The fetuses aren't counted amongst the children of Israel whenever they're doing their numbering. If a pregnant woman is like hit in the stomach or in the uterus or something like that while fighting a man or something, the fetus is not considered to be the death of a child in that particular respect. There's several different ways in which fetuses are not given that, and also there's so much more evidence to the contrary of like life beginning at conception in the Bible. There's this thing called the breath of life. Have you heard of the breath of life?
Yes.
Okay, that's how that's what they consider to be a living being. Is once the breath of life has entered the body, that's when they sort of are people or are human, gain personhood, are alive in this particular respect. There's far more quotations that actually support that from the Bible than there is for your life beginning at conception thing.
I understand that, but at that time, those people didn't have the education or the knowledge that we have.
This is God talking. This is God talking.
All knowing.
I understand that TACIS may be how to say influence. God influenced that person to write down these words, but at the same time, like I saying, I'm looking at the Bible as a history book. So I'm looking at those people and their norms and everything.
It's not a history book. We've said this before. It's not a history book. There are blatantly false things that are in the book that are not historical.
For me, that's how I look at it.
Okay.
So just fuck reality. I got it.
Look, let me ask you something. You said, here's the point that I was trying to make by saying that there's a section of the Bible that endorses abortion, says that you should get an abortion if your wife cheats on you. The point that I'm trying to make by pointing that fact out is to say that the Bible is pro-abortion, but you've been told your whole life that it is anti-abortion. And when you called in, you said you were upset that like people were being cast in different roles as different races or whatever, but that's not happening. It's happened like twice. And there were valid reasons for when that's happened in the past, with very few exceptions. And I'm telling you, the Republican Party is lying to you. They're trying to get you whipped into a blood frenzy over stupid shit with the woke stuff. And the church is trying to get you whipped into a blood frenzy over stupid shit with the abortion stuff. Do you see how people are lying to you about this stuff?
I'm not listening to a government party. I am listening to what woke people are talking about when it comes to rape, when it comes to abortion. I am listening.
You got a couple
to
of woke people here.
Points.
You got a couple of woke people here. So ask us.
So, okay. Thank you. And I apologize for being a little bit heated. I apologize. Sometimes I am. Because I'm passionate about this shit.
You're good. You're good.
So, for me, what I've been hearing, it seems like y'all don't want the social order of what the Bible says, but now y'all want a social order where we pick off each other because someone did something bad. And instead of trying to understand how that person did, I'm not saying that person not go to jail or get penalized by the law system. But when I look at the status of how we got so far that now we have ICE on the street and it's wrong, it's picking off people, and I think it's stupid that they just asking for papers right now. But at the same time, when I say, oh, hold on, guys, I understand we mad, but let's hold on. Let's not act violent. Let's not be crazy. If someone's acting violent or throwing some rocks or even trying to touch the damn officer, just tell them to leave that officer alone. You can curse out that officer all you want. But if I see on TV buildings burning and people hitting cars and stopping traffic. What are we really doing here?
Okay, I'm not sure I understand. Like you were like there are protests against what ICE is doing right now, and I'm going to say it again, but the news has been trying to portray to you that the protesters are the bad guys and showing like all kinds of insane violence and everything else, and you're kind of falling for it here a little bit.
Right. When Preddy was executed by ICE, he only had a phone in his hand, and he was actually helping a woman that was being attacked by ICE to get up off the street, and then ICE came over and attacked him. Why aren't you upset about the execution of an American citizen on the streets of America? Why are you standing for officers that are obviously violating their constitutional, like the victims' constitutional rights? Why does the violation of the Constitution not piss you off more than maybe an officer takes a fucking slap to the face or something like that, which I don't even think is happening?
No, it hasn't, as far as I've seen.
For me,
why aren't you more upset over that?
I want that killer in jail. I want that officer in jail. But going to be ridiculous on the street and stopping public traffic and doing all these crazy things, yes, you can go to D.C. and holler and go to your mayor's office and complain all you want. And
like, they literally murdered a man. They literally murdered a man and a woman. What are we supposed to do after they killed Renee Good? What do we do? Do we just stand there like on the sidelines with signs and be upset, or do we get up in their face? Not violently, but do we get up there and try to protect people and help people stand up and stuff like Alex Preddy was doing? What are we supposed to do? We write our mayor because they murdered a woman in cold blood?
Yes, we go through the legal process.
We go through the legal process
like Martin Luther King did.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. And we figuratively fight. We get up in their faces and we let them know that this is not okay, in addition to going through the legal processes.
Which is not happening. And no, hold on. I just want to point this out. Like, I haven't been up to date on the current situation, I guess. Maybe it's changed, but the last thing I heard was we're not going through the proper process there. Not for Renee Good, not for Preddy. Like, none of them are actually going, like, are suffering the consequences of, like, the ICE officers are not suffering the consequences. There's no investigation that's been happening. The FBI took over the investigation so that they could lock out anybody that would actually have a fair investigation over it. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about right now, because you live in some kind of delusional conservative space where it's the wokies out there that are the problem, not the fucking federal officers that are executing people in the streets when they don't even have the ability to enforce any of that shit that they're doing. That's not part of their mandate or anything like that, to assault American citizens or violate their constitutional rights. But sure, be mad at the protesters. You agree with what?
I agree with you. And they should not. And I agree with you. All those officers should be locked up or people should be pressing charges. But
what do we do?
At the same time, I'm trying to offer a rational opinion what I think the movie should be doing. That's all I'm doing.
Wait, so what are you saying we should do? What are you saying we should do then? Because we've done everything we can. They're not investigating the murders. We had to, on the left, we had to be the ones to investigate, try to figure out who pulled the trigger. And I think, who was it? PubMed maybe released one, and another group released the names of Renee Good's killer. What are we supposed to do? You're complaining about the people on the left when the people on the right are the ones causing the problems and killing people in cold blood. Like, why are you not infuriated with what the right is doing, but you can't seem to articulate what the left is doing wrong?
Well, I'm articulating, and I already said, yes, it's peaceful protest out there. But you do have some lunatics out here that's fucking up the movie.
Who?
Like I said,
Who? What?
I mean,
what are they doing?
Individual people in the movement fucking up the movement.
Who?
This is
Like,
why
what are
Black
they
Lives
doing that?
Matter did not.
What are they doing? What are you?
Getting
What are
up,
they
like
doing that
you
you're
said,
upset about?
getting up to their face. You know, you
People are
can
allowed to
personalize
get
all
up
you
in
want,
cops'
but
faces.
don't. I seen it. I seen it, and it's not good.
Well,
A person
so
has a
Cortez,
weapon, a loaded
Cortez,
weapon. You're gonna get in front of their face.
Cortez, if I'm standing there protesting and a cop positions himself right in front of me, do you think that I should be killed for that? Do you think that I should be
No.
executed because a cop has put himself? Well, everything that we've been mentioning so far has been the ICE agents positioning themselves into a spot where they are up in the faces of the protesters and everything like that. You seem to be fabricating fantastical things about where protesters are getting up in the face. And I have to say, it was rather cathartic to see ICE over there in Italy and getting their asses handed to them by Italian citizens like that. I saw those videos and that was fucking hilarious to me.
The point
I
is,
just don't under.
yeah.
I just
Go
don't.
ahead.
We're just not going to agree because I don't know, because what I'm seeing and what I've seen from history is not working anymore. Yes,
Yeah, well, no, I think the big difference here, Cortez. See, the big difference between us is that Owen and I were not running cover for the Nazis, and you seem to be.
No, many times I said these law officers should be in jail. They did murder those two
but
people.
no, but you calling in and having more of a problem with the protesters than you have with our current government and its Nazi actions. You not being offended by that more than what the protesters are doing. That's running cover for the Nazi government. That's what you're doing right now.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter your intent behind it.
Listen, we can always argue and go back and forth, but what I'm talking about is the method. And at the end of the day, you can have all that hostility, but how are you going to address it? This is why Martin Luther King was so big, because he had people spit in his face, call all kinds of names. You know what he did? He said, all right, I'm going to give you the other cheek. He never fought with violence. He never, ever.
You realize, let me ask you something. Can you see the screen right now?
No, I'm on the phone.
Okay, well, I'm going to show the audience a comic from the 1950s, and I'm going to describe it because here it is. I found it. The comic is a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. standing there. Hang on, I'm trying to pull it up. Here. Martin Luther King Jr. standing there, and oh, you guys can't see my screen. I'm sorry. Let me switch over. There we go. He's standing there, and there's a reporter with a notepad, and Martin Luther King Jr. standing there looking at the reporter, and there's just complete devastation behind him. Car is destroyed, buildings burned down, people on the ground, and the caption says, "I plan to lead another nonviolent march tomorrow." The reason that I don't put much credence in what people are saying on the right now is because this has been the tactic of the right literally since the beginning. Okay, they claim a movement is violent. It is made up of violent protesters who are burning buildings down, right out of the Nazi playbook, right out of the Martin Luther King Jr. protesters playbook, when they blamed him for burning buildings down. Okay, almost nobody is burning down buildings. People are protesting against literal Nazis. Okay, literal, actual Sieg Heiling, Hitler-loving Nazis right now. That's what people are doing. And you're coming here to complain to us about the people burning buildings down, exactly like the protesters, exactly like the right was doing against Martin Luther King Jr. If you wondered where you would be in the 1960s, you would have been on the side of the right against Martin Luther King Jr., because that's the side you're on right now.
No, I would be with Martin Luther King. Even Martin Luther King, yes, at that time they did blame him for the LA, the LA riots.
Not the LA riots, yeah, it was other stuff. They blamed him for stuff constantly. You know why? Because he was doing the right thing, and nobody had any way to push back against it other than to claim violence. That's what the right does. They claim people are being violent when they're not. And the media spins this up into a whole thing, especially Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, Facebook, and all these other companies spin this up into this big thing where the left is violent. They're destroying everything when it's all bullshit. It was all bullshit all along. We don't want people murdering innocent people in the streets. That's what we're trying to stop.
Yes, I get that. I don't want that either. But at the same time,
and why are you supporting the murderers?
I'm not supporting the murderers. I already said those cops need to go to jail. But we need to do the proper procedure. If we just going to act like the killers, what makes us any different?
Because we're protesting against the Nazis. Like that's what makes. Like I feel like we don't have to provide any kind of some kind of a bar or something like that for just not being the Nazis. Like that's what it is. We're not the Nazis. We're not doing the Nazi shit. We're protesting and fighting back like in a civil fashion against the Nazis.
Exactly.
That's what distinguishes us.
And we're not using the Nazis' tactics. We are not violent. We are not wreaking havoc on anything or destroying things or any of that shit. They're using the same propaganda today that they were using back then. Do not fall for it again.
Yeah, so literally the U.S. Hold on. So literally the U.S. government is reusing 1930s and 40s Nazi propaganda imagery to recruit for ICE, but also to promote their propaganda on their social media right now. Like it's obvious.
Like they're literally using the same words, and they even put they put ICE officials in a drawing, like in an ICE advertisement. They put them in World War II Nazi helmets in the art, the advertising art. Okay, they are literal, actual Sieg Heiling Nazis.
Listen, I'm not sitting here and saying that ICE is not doing anything bad. They are fucking up neighborhoods. They are doing shit that I wouldn't even think the fucking they do, but they are.
Be mad about that. Be mad about call into someplace and complain about that. Why are you calling in and complaining about the people that are being oppressed, the people that are being attacked, the people that are being executed in the fucking street? Like, why do you seem to be more mad about the protesting going on and the fighting back against the Nazis than you are about the Nazis doing the executing?
You say that you're upset about both, but I don't believe you.
I am articulating my opinion when it comes to protest. That doesn't mean that I justify people being killed on the street. I would never look at another human being that did nothing wrong and say they was they deserved a bullet in their face or a bullet in their back. No.
Let me try to frame it this way for you, okay? At the beginning of the call, you said you were upset about race swapping in movies. And I pointed out that that's fictitious and it's not happening. And then I said you're upset about abortion, but the Bible is pro-abortion. And now I'm saying you are literally repeating Nazi propaganda by saying you must be civil when nobody is being uncivil. The protests are almost exclusively peaceful.
Right.
Listen,
and if you want to,
y'all want to go through the same narrative,
Cortez.
All right, y'all just want to go through the same narrative. Thank you. May y'all have a blessed night. Y'all want to keep
Cortez,
fighting this
before
fight.
you go, I get it.
You
want to get out of here. You want to run. I get it. But
no,
listen,
it's not.
You're
what's the point?
No. So what's the point? I'm gonna tell you what your problem is.
You're not going to listen to me. You're not.
No. Okay. So did you call in just to talk at us?
No.
Did you just want to talk? Oh, you don't want to hear it. Okay.
You don't want to listen. You don't. Goodbye. You don't.
No, I hung up on you. Okay. I hung up on you for one because you were just wanting to talk at us. For everybody else's edification on this particular point, he was committing what he was wanting to commit, and what he had been committing was the composition fallacy, because he was taking outlier events and then applying them to the whole of the protesting going on right now. The whole of the protesting going on is civil, right? It's not violent or anything, but he would probably point to one or two instances of there being violence, and I'm sure that there are reasons behind the violence or whatnot. It wasn't violence for violence sake, but in any case, taking the small outliers and then applying it to the entire group, that's fallacious as fuck reasoning.
Yeah, and like I said before, I'm going to show this again. They said the exact same thing about Martin Luther King Jr., the exact same thing. I plan to lead another nonviolent march tomorrow. You know why? The Nazis said this exact same shit about the Jews. Anytime anybody stood up, they got shouted down or they got their head shot off, and they were told they were the violent ones. I refuse to accept this. It's complete nonsense. Anyway, that's sad, dude. That is really sad. That he just he is actually on the side of the oppressors in Martin Luther King Jr.'s in that in that framing. In 1960, he would have been against Martin Luther King Jr., and it's not clicking with him.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, we can hit the next one if you want.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Which is George. Any and all pronouns, apparently, from Canada. A theist. Christianity is good for society. Lay it on us, George. What do you got?
Hey, how's it going? First of all, Owen, congratulations on your wife being pregnant and starting a family. That's really wonderful. Yeah.
Donate through Super Chats if you want to support the baby. Thank you very much.
Right. No, yeah, sure. I can't have kids myself, but I'm a good father, so much respect.
Yeah. My brother can't either. So.
You guys have shifted topics to a lot of stuff that I wasn't really super tuned into in the last call. So I'm not really I probably want to steer clear of all that stuff. But I wanted to talk about the stats and research that shows that Christianity is generally more healthful to society. In other words, there's health, mental well-being benefits, decreased mortality, decreased morbidity, rectangularization of the health curve.
Well, so I don't I don't think that those stats are what we generally, gauge a society's health on. I've done massive amount of research into this, and the United States does not rank well when put up against more secular nations.
No, but we can look at, I assume when you say Christianity is bad for society, I'm talking about sort of North American society. Do you mean globally or North America?
It's society in general. For us, for a society itself, Christianity increases the amount of harm. Christianity increases the amount of harm in a society and is generally bad for the health and well-being of a society.
Well, I think harm is a little harder because that can be a much more subjective conversation. But at least the data shows there have been a lot of meta-analyses that have shown that when people are more religious and more engaged in religious communities, that there's a multifactorial analysis that shows that they do better, they live longer, their health curves are more rectangularized. In other words, they have a slower decline in their health. They tend to do better over time. There was a study in 1991.
Yeah, is that because of religion or is that because of community? Can people have that without religion?
Yeah. So the answer seems to be no. It cannot happen without religion. But that question is not put out very well in the data. But I will say that Hummer et al. In 1991 did a very thorough study showing that the comparative health advantage of religiously participating on a weekly basis is about as huge a health benefit as quitting smoking at the age of 20. It's about a 7-year increase in mortality.
So we should see that China, being a non-religious country, has worse health outcomes then. Is that what you're saying?
No, these were studies that were done in the United States only. So again, I'm restricting my focus. Like, in other words,
you're restricting your focus, but you're making a claim about the ultimate outcome of religion. You're saying that religion is better for society overall. So that means even though you're restricting it to the United States, it should apply everywhere if it's true, right?
Yeah, U.S. and Canada.
We should be healthier than China overall.
I don't know that I could say that with the same factual and statistical basis. I can just say that in the U.S. and Canada and in the North American populations that have been studied. I think some studies in Europe have been done with similar results, but I know there's overwhelmingly a large amount of like North American literature and the scholarly literature that shows that people are healthier when they have religious engagement. When they go to church once a week, they're healthier.
I would argue that the healthy benefits people get are from community generally, and it has nothing to do with believing that God is real. And I would have to look that up to be absolutely certain, but I would bet my life on it. And either way, I don't think it matters because I don't want to defend a lie. It doesn't matter, what that lie can do for me or whatever. I think believing true things is noble and believing false things is bad. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day anyway to me,
Well, I also don't see. Sorry for interrupting here, but I don't see the benefits of like Christianity as a religion when Christianity has to be drug, along with the progressive society, right? So like I'm talking about, I typically point to like slavery, the issue of slavery, the LGBTQ community, women's rights, those kinds of things. Christianity has been the one to hold society back and prevent like the equitable treatment of women and the equitable treatment of the black demographic in America. Christianity is primarily responsible for those societal ills. So I don't understand from your point of view how Christianity, even on a micro level for like an individual, how it could be like good, but from a macro level, like looking at a society in general, it definitely increases the amount of harm and the amount of negative consequences that occur. So that's kind of where I'm at on this.
Well, can we just start with what Owen's point, and then we can circle back to that?
Okay.
I think Owen, your point was is it religious thinking? Like, is that healthful? Like, are there benefits to that? And right. I know that some of these studies have broken down how important is religion, and in most of the studies, when they ask that question, if you're more religiously engaged, in other words, if you rank religion as being more important in your life, that does translate to a health benefit in most of the studies that have been done. Now, I will say this: there was at least one study that showed that very religious thinking, so the people who relate religion as extremely significant in their lives, that does actually seem to predict a worsened longevity. But there was some thinking that in that specific cohort of that particular study, that some of that increase in religious thinking was because some of those patients did in fact have like significant imminent issues that were threatening their mortality, which had made religion more significant in their lives. So in other words, they were at the end of their lives and they were struggling with protracted battles with like very severe chronic illnesses. But right. At least for most people, when they do the multivariate analysis and they sort things out multifactorially. Now, the thing that you said is sort of a shift it's at least a shifted goalpost from what the topic is of the video that's listed on the YouTube channel, which is you're saying that like it's bad, Christianity is bad because of moral considerations.
Well, I think actually the position was. My position is that it's community that improves the the outcomes or whatever, not religion. And we would have to prove that it's actually just believing in God and nothing else before you could move me over on that. But in addition to that, not moving the goalposts, that's my position. But in addition to that, I would rather believe more true things than false things.
Yeah, I guess my point is, that's a subjective consideration. But my other point is they have actually done the multifactorial analysis where they've looked into whether or not religious thinking is a part of this equation. Now, it's also likely true that social engagement is it has health benefits in and of itself, but at least for the regular church attendance, other activities don't seem to confer the same benefits. There's a great study by Hummer et al. In 1991 that really
91.
Go ahead.
You don't have anything. You don't have anything like more
years.
modern. Yeah.
Oh no, there have been several other
Okay.
meta-analyses. I mean, I could look up some more recent.
And these analyses, they tell you that actually believing in God is the thing that confers benefits, not like just having a community around you. That's what they show.
One of the questions that they ask the people is, how important is religion in your life?
Right. And as you said earlier, that could be skewed as a result of people bringing religion into their lives who are like on death's door or have other issues or whatever. And the community is what kind of helps them get like better health outcomes and things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just looking it up really quick. There's a study in 2025 in the Journal of Religion and Health that specifically looked at European countries. This was a meta-analysis of 39 different studies. So that means that they pooled all the different studies together and figured out what conclusions they could draw from German-speaking countries.
Okay, so what was the name of the study? Let me just look it up real fast.
Journal of Religion and Health, the meta-analysis in August 2025. See if I can find the name of the study. But there have been several other meta-analyses on these points that have underscored that engaging in religious communities on a regular basis is indeed very healthy. So this specific study that I just cited was Christian Zwingman.
Yes, Zwingman, I see it. Published in the Journal of Religion and Health, 2025, Religiosity and Spirituality. This study, I'm just looking, the weighted average correlation between religiosity and spirituality and mental health was 0.083, meaning greater religiosity was associated with better mental health, but only to a small extent. A correlation of 0.083 is barely a blip. The authors themselves described it as rather minimal compared to findings from US-based meta-analyses. And I would argue that that's
the key point. Minimal compared to findings from meta-analyses, mostly from studies done in the US.
I thought you were going to give me your best one. All right, give me your best one. I'll look that one up. That one, it basically is so small, it's within a margin of error and is invalidated as a result. Go ahead.
But it's statistically significant. It's not.
No, it's not. It's 0.083.
That's not. I don't think that's the p-value. That's just the weighted average correlation.
Okay, what's your best one?
Can we just sort of acknowledge that I've given you a few now, or at least two, and you said the first one was too old. You said this one is not.
Give me the old one. What was the old one? 1991. What was it called?
Hummer et al. Was the authors. I think there's also a Framingham cohort study, which was a retrospective analysis that looked at a population of nurses that they followed for a bunch of cardiovascular effects.
Followed. Let's see.
I do have some stuff to bring up after Owen has done this deep dive real quick.
Okay. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Just trying to, as I say, no need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. See if we can find the answer. Okay, Helmer et al. Is 1999, actually, not 91.
1999. Sorry.
So it used nationally representative data from the National Health Interview Survey and found that people who never attend religious services had 1.87 times the risk of death compared to those who attend more than once a week, translating to roughly a 7-year life expectancy difference at age 20. However, the study also found that health selectively accounts for a significant portion of this. People who don't attend are more likely to already be unhealthy. And regarding the nurses study, you might be talking about the nurses health study, not Framingham, as far as I can tell. They were different studies. This is 2016, I think. Just looking through. So it was published in JAMA International Medicine using the nurses health study. Following 74,000 women from 92 to 2012, they found that attending religious services more than once a week was associated with 33% lower all-cause mortality, 27% lower cardiovascular mortality compared to women who never attended. But I'm not really. I would have to look more into the nurses study and what the point was behind that one. What, like all of the information on that. But so far, what I've seen is none of this proves that it had anything related to religion. The only one that proved that religion or belief in religious claims contributed in any way was the first one, and that was so infinitesimally small that it's statistically insignificant.
It was minimal compared to U.S. studies, which to me indicates that it underscores that in the U.S., where this has been studied more extensively, that there was a significant health benefit. Can we just do one more, which is Vanderweel et al. In 2023?
Yeah. Let's see if I can find info on this. 1 second. Oh, nope, wrong thing. This is a song I play when I'm trying to look something up. Tyler Vanderweel. I'm sorry. Yes, Vanderweel, who is a Harvard epidemiologist. Weekly religious service attendance is longitudinally associated with lower mortality risk, lower depression, less suicide, better cardiovascular disease survival. But Vanderweel's funding sources were in question. His longitudinal meta-analysis of religion and health project is funded by the Templeton Religion Trust, running from 2023 to 2026. So he's literally a young Earth creationist, or he was funded by young Earth creationists. That one is completely invalid. I will take the other couple that you gave, or the other three or whatever, and I have my issues with their methodology, but this is not trustworthy.
I don't know that I would disagree with a meta-analysis just because of the funding source being fraught.
They literally it was funded by the Templeton Foundation. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea who the Templeton Foundation is.
Okay.
But I mean,
if you did, you would agree with me.
How is that not? But that's sort of an ad hominem argument. You're saying his
no, it's not. No, not in this case. No, the Templeton Foundation is a Christian nationalist extremist nutcase organization who is fully politically motivated to lie and twist information. Like I said, I will accept your other three that you gave me, and we can talk about methodology and everything. This is garbage. Also, even Vanderweel's own framing undermined the religion is good argument anyway. He himself writes that those without a religious identity...
George, hold on. George.
Harvard School of Public Health.
I don't really give a fuck where he works at. George, if we were to give you a study that was funded by the KKK that says that there is no systemic racism, would you trust that?
I mean, I guarantee you, if you gave me that study, that I would be able to find a flaw in that study. My question is, can you find a flaw in this study, or is there a problem with the funding source?
I can.
If there's a problem with the funding source.
No, I can find a flaw
What?
here. Vanderweel's own framing undermined the religion is good argument here. I have it pulled up. He wrote that for those without a religious identity, we can instead promote participation in other forms of community. And he references social prescribing in the UK and the US Surgeon General's 2023 report on loneliness. So even
Well, I would
he
agree. I
is
would agree.
saying it's about community, not religion.
Well, okay, I would agree with that statement as well. Like, I think that's a true statement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that other forms of social engagement are just as good as religious participation. He's
But
just saying
your
that people who
study
are
from
religious,
earlier says that it is. Your study from earlier had a 0.083 correlation, and it makes it essentially meaningless if it's religion or just regular community. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we've established that your studies are not like creating a foundation that Christianity is a force for good and not community, not plain community.
will you at least acknowledge that religious participation in Christian communities improves mental health and longevity and morbidity and mortality?
I will agree that religion
I'm telling you,
has community.
You can keep looking.
I'll agree
Yeah.
that religion includes community as part of the equation, and community is good. But I'll also ask you to accept that religion also comes with a lot of really awful shit in addition to community.
Yeah. I want to go through that the awful shit that we're actually talking about when we're talking about Christianity being a negative force for a society, or Christianity being the cause of a lot of negative shit that happens. So like when we're talking about Christianity being negative for a society or bad for a society, what we're talking about is the fact is that it blocks evidence-based policy in sex ed, vaccines, climate, mental health. It erodes democratic pluralism by asserting that one group's moral framework is universal. And then it also makes populations more tolerant of inequality rather than being motivated to fix the inequalities. It channels pro-social behavior inward rather than outward. That would be in-group versus out-group kind of thinking there. And then it also diverts massive resources towards maintaining religious infrastructure rather than solving the social problems that we have. So like when we're talking about on a macro scale, and that's what the society is. We're not talking about the individual scales that you can probably find like one or two studies that affirm your particular position, probably funded by like the Templeton or other Christian nationalist organizations to make you feel better about yourself. But when we're talking about a macro scale kind of thing, and macro scale kind of thing.
Wait a second. All right, wait a second. There's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot of arguments that you squeezed in, and I think that some of them deserve more attention. But can we focus in on one or the other? And I still don't know that I agree with the argument that I would invalidate a Harvard professor's research who's in a school of public health and epidemiology just because he had a funding source.
If there's a Harvard researcher or whatnot that has an active membership in a white nationalist organization that and regularly goes to demonstrations where let's say they lynch a person, if he writes something that you agree with, are you going to have the exact same sort of attitude here? Are you going to be like, yeah, maybe he lynched a black guy on Saturday, but he's making a lot of sense in this particular study right here.
And let me give you a real world example.
Let me answer that first. No, wait a second. Let me answer one question at a time, because there's a lot of questions that have been put on the table now at this point. So first of all, to answer your question, John, that would be repugnant. Okay, it would absolutely be repugnant. Okay, now. At the same time, I can almost guarantee that if you're a white nationalist and you have an academic position in a university, I just don't see you keeping your academic title at any major university. I just feel like any major university is going to appropriately yank your academic affiliation almost right away. I mean, I think that
during the 1950s, do you know what a popular lynching place was? Just in general in the South? It was the church.
And also, are you familiar with the Turner Diaries?
Okay, well let's just stay with that thought though. Let's stay with kind of one argument at a time here. So the first thing that I want to say is any religious treatment like that is absolutely repugnant. Okay. Now, it's absolutely true that the church has affiliated and allied themselves with really horrific causes throughout history, and I'm
Like
I'm
the
not
Nazis.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's. I mean, I would just appeal to what you said earlier, John, about the fallacy of composition. Is that right now a viewpoint that churches still hold? If so, which churches? And if so, is that a justified viewpoint?
So no, I mean what I'm talking about. So like that wouldn't be a composition fallacy right there. What I'm talking about is how Christianity has negatively affected society throughout history, and I can point to very specific examples, just like the lynchings outside of churches, where whole communities would gather, including police officers, to lynch black people. And that would be fueled by different messaging that was given in these churches to white people, where they distinguish black people from white people in various ways, either the curse of Ham or through like Numbers 25 with the whole interracial marriage thing. So like those things are just things that are in the Bible that people have identified with that have negatively affected society and definitely increased harm in that society and would cause that society to definitely rank lower on it. That's not a composition fallacy. That's just teaching you history.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that everything that you've just listed off is completely morally repugnant. You're not going to get any
God
disagreement
supports
with
it. God supports it. So in the
Well,
Bible,
isn't
that's one of the things on my list. There was, let me get back to my list. It's making populations more tolerant of inequality rather than motivated to fix it, as well as like the pluralism part and the pro-social behavior of being more in-group, rather than out-group kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely increases the amount of harm there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say this, that Christian fundamentalism has been. So the first thing I want to say is just going back to the compositional fallacy. So although I think the points that you're raising are really fantastic and really huge indictments of individual church communities, I don't know that I would apply them to the whole of the entire Christian community in general right now.
Well, so let me push back on that a little bit. As a percentage of Christian history, what's the percentage like in your mind that Christians have supported slavery and in fact condoned and kept the slave trade alive?
I have no idea. Whatever percentage, it's going to be too much. But I think it's shifted a lot over time. Okay. But can I just
right? Is that due to new revelation from God, or is that due to the enlightenment and secular humanist nature of humans in general?
I don't know the answer to that question. But
I could ask anybody that, and they would definitely say that it's not God. It is definitely not God. Owen, do you think it's God that has changed his mind?
No.
Okay. See, that's a correct answer. Do you want to try to give a correct one?
I mean, I don't look. I've told you slavery is repugnant. I think there's too many people who have endorsed slavery. I think too many Christians have endorsed slavery throughout history. I'll agree with all those statements. Now, here's just one other insight that I'd like to throw in, which is I think historically relevant. Right? We know that early Christianity in the United States, especially in the late 20th, or the early 20th and the late 19th century, was heavily influenced by interests that wanted to expropriate the political agenda of Christianity and enforce a more fundamentalist regime, to the tune of, like, they put $300 million into making the U.S. Christian population more monolithic, more reactionary, more fundamentalist, and more right-wing. And it was Milton and Stuart Lyman, who were two oil tycoons who had no religious motivation at all, who funneled huge amounts of money into the church. Now, this to me means that the church can be expropriated by forces that are really nefarious, that are really evil. And I think people have their own evil agendas, and they're going to use religion to
George,
to
playing off of what you're saying right now. I'm sorry, I know I'm interrupting you and everything. I'm trying to give you time to talk and everything, but I have to push back on this a little bit. And I just want you to tell me which one is more indicative of first century Christianity and that the Apostle Paul would know and all that. Do you think that it's the abolitionist version of Christianity, or do you think that it's the slave trade, the slavery version of Christianity?
First century?
Right. When the Bible was written and Christianity was created.
Yeah. There's no question that Paul said things that were way too pro-slavery in that era. I absolutely agree with that. Now, the Roman Empire was like 20%.
So it's more. So would you say that it's more? So would you say that it's more indicative of quote unquote true Christianity to be pro-slave trade?
No, I wouldn't say true Christianity. No, because I wouldn't purport to say that I can define what is true Christianity from what is false Christianity. And I mean, this gets into the no true Scotsman fallacy. If I believe that people
by true Christianity, what I mean is that it's more indicative of how the religion was actually communicated, quote unquote, by God, like how it was originally set up. We've changed it since then, sure, but what I'm saying is that the slave trade, the subjugation of women, the demonizing of the LGBTQ community, that's more representative of the religion that, quote unquote, God created than it is of what's happening now. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I have a friend who's a minister in an Episcopalian church who and the hill that he would die on is that there's nothing in the Bible that says that the LGBTQ community should be excluded from theological activities at all. That anyone who's LGBTQ plus should have exactly the same rights. And he would die on that hill. And he would die on the hill.
No. You know who's dying on a hill? It's LGBTQ people, because the Christians are stoning them due to Leviticus 20:13, as well as other passages that said that LGBTQ people should be killed, and that's the majority of Christian history. That's been the position.
Yeah, that's absolutely horrific, and it's very flawed. I don't agree.
Okay, so you're saying that the position that Paul preached in Romans is repugnant and should not be followed, even though God directly spoke Leviticus 20:13 to Moses and is reaffirmed by Paul, who got all of his information from Jesus. Do you see the problem here? Which is hold on, let me bring up my list real quick. It's that problem that I stated of eroding democratic pluralism by asserting one group's moral framework as being universal. See, I just was able to draw a distinct line to God himself that says that LGBTQ people should be killed. So why should you defy God?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm happy to talk a little bit about Paul and his use of the word arsenicatai and malakoi. But my big thing with his use of that phraseology is the word arsenicatai we know the word malakoi has a bunch of different meanings, right? And we won't know that the word arsenicatai is a neologism that Paul uses for the first time. So we have no idea what it means in context. We don't find it anywhere else in the literature before Paul, so we have no idea what it means. Now, I mean, John, let me underscore though that the people who are saying this is look, I'll be honest with you. I go to a church and I'll tell you that, I have very, very pro LGBTQ plus views. And I was recently told that, I would never be allowed to volunteer in that community because, of my very, very pro LGBTQ plus views. And I'll probably have to stop going there. And I think that's terrible. I think that's really awful. It's horrific. And I mean, but I don't know that I would say that true Christianity has a specific policy towards the LGBTQ plus population. I'll tell you that if you ask that question to different people, they're going to give you different answers. And I don't feel.
Here's one of my big problems. People in the United States don't really hate the LGBT community. unless it's for Christian reasons. That is exclusively why people talk shit about gay people, for Christian reasons. So maybe this Christian church or that Christian church doesn't have this.
That's not. Well, that's not true at all. That's not true at all, right? The Islamic faith is really, really anti-LGBTQ plus population.
I was talking about in the United States.
Well, yeah, in the United States, but also that's an Abrahamic religion too, just like Christianity is an Abrahamic religion. So yes, all Abrahamic religions, they want to kill LGBTQ individuals. How does this make your argument better?
Well, I'm just saying that Owen just said that all the people in the United States who hate the LGBTQ plus population is because of Christianity. And I would argue,
I didn't say all. I said that's basically the only reason that anybody has or cites is for religious reasons. And I agree with you that the Bible is a little bit, it's not as clear cut as it seems based on the words used, the hapax legomenon and Romans and everything else. I totally agree. But that's the reason people are citing Christian reasons.
Can I ask a different question? And this is a topic switch.
Okay. Well, I mean, can I get a concession on that you recognize that like people only like really for the most part cite Christianity as their reason for not liking gay people in the United States? Maybe halfway.
Yeah, I'll say that ostensibly, if you ask somebody why they don't like gay people and they're Christian, they're going to cite the Bible, and I think that's terrible. Yeah.
Put a few qualifiers in there, but all right.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, now for the pivot.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's pivot now. I have some
we do have like three other. Well, hold on. We do have like three other callers to get to. Two of them are probably going to be kind of quick, but I mean, we still we're almost at 3 hours now. So I mean, we can pivot a little bit, but I think that we need to move.
All right. Well, I'll just say you should on your own time, if you'd be interested in looking at that, you should also look up the fact that in the United States and Canada, Christian populations are largely more philanthropic. They give more to charity. They give also more to secular causes, and they engage more in volunteerism. So there's a lot of data on those points as well. But
you're saying that Christian orgs give more money than secular nonprofits? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure. I believe that.
Yeah, I won't go into another data rabbit hole, and I know you want to get to other calls, but I will say there is statistical data that shows that Christians, more so than people who have no religious affiliation, give more to charity and they engage more in volunteerism.
Well, I think that's
secular causes.
No, so that's more than likely just because of the composition of the United States, and that the non-religious people are a much lower percentage of the nation there. When you're just looking at raw numbers there, that's easy. Okay. If your position right here were actually true, then there wouldn't be a woman on TikTok that called several churches for help for their starving child, which they didn't have a starving child, but the churches didn't know that. And what religious institutions were the only ones to actually offer help without any kind of question?
Church of Satan, probably.
No, it was actually Islamic temples. It was Muslim religious worship places that actually helped her. You know what the good Christian churches did with all of that money that's been donated and all this other shit? You know what they did?
Didn't help at all. I don't know.
No. Yep. They didn't help a fucking one bit. They were like, go to a food pantry. Nope. We don't help you here. Right.
The problem is that churches are registered as nonprofit organizations. So giving to a church is considered legally as donating to a charity because they are legally recognized as charities. So if you really want to see what the actual percentage is, you would compare religious organization charitable donations compared to non-religious organization donations.
Right, because a lot of that charitable giving that you're talking about right now actually just is in like tithing and all this other stuff that goes to maintaining church buildings, paying pastor salaries, running worship services, and it definitely doesn't go to the social aspect of it, which is why religious institutions were given tax exempt status in the first place. The whole idea was that they would help their neighborhoods, their local neighborhoods, instead of having to rely on the government. But and that's the entire reason for making them tax exempt. But they've moved away from that. They don't do that. All they do is they pay their pastors more. That's why we have Joel Osteen right now.
Yep.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying, in general, there is more charitable giving from the Christian population, and they give more not only to Christian charities but also to secular causes. And
is that
also,
no? So is that excluding the tithe money?
One more quick thing. Yes, if you just look at secular charitable donation, it's mostly coming from the people who give the most. Number one is the LDS population. Number two is the evangelical Christian population. But in general, religious affiliated individuals, including people who are Christian.
Wait. So your top thing is a religion that by their own theology mandates that people give 10% of what they earn a year, like to the tune of to the effect of these people, hold on, to the effect of these people actually having to charge their credit cards in order to tithe. That's the horse you're going to ride in on, really?
No, I think going into debt, if you have to go into debt to give money to your church, that's absolutely flawed. Why
did you prop them up as your first one?
Well, I'm just saying across religious communities and comparing religious communities to non-religious communities on a per capita basis, religious communities give more to charity and they donate more in terms of time and in terms of volunteering, giving of their time.
I actually have the answer to this. I looked this up. I have the answer. Do you want the answer to whether religious people give more to charities?
Sure.
Okay, most religious giving goes back to the church itself, not to helping society. At $146 billion, giving to religion constituted 24% of the $598 billion donated in 2023, far eclipsing the runner-up, Human Services, at $89 billion. That's from Inside Philanthropy. But that money goes to building maintenance, pastor salaries, sound systems, so on and so forth. When you strip out giving to one's own church, the gap narrows dramatically. 2/3 of people who worship at least twice a month give to secular causes, compared to less than half of non-attenders. And the average secular gift by a church attender is only...
Doesn't that support my argument? You're saying that the people who are religious church attendees give more to secular causes than people
I'm
who aren't?
saying the gap narrows dramatically. Secular people prefer systemic solutions. Hold on. I'm not done. Secular people prefer systemic solutions. According to the General Social Survey, secularists support greater public spending for social programs, even if it means higher taxation, at slightly higher rates than religious people do, according to Hoover Institution. In other words, secular people tend to prefer addressing poverty through policy, and religious people tend to prefer charity, basically. So there's the answer.
Yeah, so let me ask you this there, George. Do you think that it should be the charity's responsibility to feed the poor, or do you think that the nation's government should be responsible for making sure that its population is fed?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I don't know the answer to that.
It should be government.
I feel like you ask anybody, we shouldn't have to basically shit in one hand, wish in the other in this particular situation, because you're wishing and hoping that the charities actually do the job that people think they're doing, as opposed to actually mandating it by the government so that people are actually guaranteed to be fed. I'm just saying, it's a stark contrast, and I don't think it should be.
I would accept that as an argument. That's a valid point. I would agree with that. Okay.
Additionally, churches or charities are generally charities don't have as much money to work with as the government. They just don't. And people can give all day and all night, but the entire U.S. population is not giving 37% of their income to charities. They're giving it to the government, and the government should be responsible for making sure that we have a social safety net, basically.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. I agree that there should be a better social safety net than there is, and we need to do more in the private sector and the public sector.
Okay.
All right.
I think
Listen,
we can agree on that then.
It's been. Can I just say that, like, before I end the call and get off, like, I think I feel like we've agreed on a lot of stuff. Like, we're on the same side about a lot of these issues, and I just want to say that that's maybe something to focus on that's more positive.
Yeah, it's been fun sparring with you. I really appreciate the call. It's been interesting.
Likewise. You guys, I'll follow both your channels. I've seen you before, John. I've seen some of your videos, but I'll make sure I subscribe the next time I see one of your videos. And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that.
All right.
Great job. Thank you.
Interesting. I learned some stuff after having to look all that up. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, you want to bring in here, I'll bring him in. We've got Rajat from Canada, a theist. If this thing is actually going to do what it's supposed to do. There we are. Welcome, Rajat. Am I pronouncing that correctly? He, him?
It's Rajat.
Rajat. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us?
So, the previous caller, I think, or some of the stuff I was going to say. I mean, I was just going to say that the religion's impact on society has been like complex so far. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it has been overall bad. And is it overall good? Like, I don't know.
So, Rajat, you don't think that the systemic problems that we are suffering now due to the African slave trade, I mean, here in America, it's pretty prominent, but I think that the systemic racism issue reaches, pretty far and wide. But you don't think that Christianity's contribution to that particular thing has definitely had ripples that we are facing even now today?
Well, I would say most of history, Christianity did support slavery. That's true.
Yep.
What I want to say though is there are left-wing people within Christianity. Now, of course, they did not have the what I would say power, right? Like Augustine, like when you compare Gregory of Nyssa to like Augustine, Gregory of Nyssa literally condemned slavery, like very strongly, compared to like Augustine or Aquinas. So
how does this help the conversation? I guess I'm failing to connect the dots here.
I mean, I was just saying that like one of the reasons for like religions being like reactionary, specifically like Christianity or even Islam, right? Them being reactionary, it seems like historically contingent, like, right? I mean, it's not. There is a sense of like luck in there, right? Like some of the councils, I think the early councils were like called in by the emperor because he saw like some kind of disunity is happening in within like Christendom or something, and like so.
Did any of them decide that slavery was bad?
No. Majority did not decide like slavery was bad. Like I agree with that.
Right.
Like as I said,
that seems to be problematic, don't you think? Do you think that slavery has caused a lot of systemic issues?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, then why do you think that Christianity is not all that bad and that it's been good?
Well, overall bad, right? I mean, it's more like complex, I would say. Though I guess so one of the things about like slavery and stuff like that, I mean, um, before Christianity, it was an institution. After Christianity, it was still an institution. All over the world, right? This was like an institution, even in like Hindu religion, right? Like so, um, it's like I'm not sure if like again I kind of get the point, like why didn't like God just condemn slavery, right? At that time, but it's sort of like a general argument against God, right? Like a kind of problem of evil argument rather than a specific religion, I guess. So, um,
Well, in this
yeah,
particular
I
case, it
do
is a
think that.
specific religion because I mean, it's specifically Christianity. Christianity was the main driver of the African slave trade. They used Christianity in order to justify the dehumanization of Africans and the trafficking of Africans. So, I mean, it seems to be very intimately tied to Christianity, due to verses like Leviticus 25:44 through 46, where it has God directly, condoning the act of taking slaves, and the African slave trade, where it started out in Africa, procured their slaves through prisoners of war, and then of course the white slave traders fueled this war effort by providing them with guns, continuing the wars that were going on in Africa so that they could capture more people and sell them off to the African slave traders. So I mean, it was entirely driven and justified by Christianity and Christianity's teachings. So I guess I don't understand your point here. You're calling in, like the show notes say, left wing theology versus right wing theology. There's some religion is good. I'm just failing to see the good stuff in Christianity that actually improves society that we can't get from other better sources.
Well, one of the like things, as far as like I have read, it is that one of the good things compared to say before Christianity in like Greek times, one of the good things Christianity I think did was like the kind of egalitarianism that Christianity supported compared to previous times. Like I think Nietzsche himself
What
recognized
egalitarian
that.
effort? What egalitarian effort? I don't know of any
I know that
Relatively more. Like
Christianity
in
has
the
supported egalitarianism periodically when they were the minority group, but when they weren't the minority, in every case, they became tyrannical and started trying to take control of everything and manipulate the entire population. And actually, they were trying to manipulate everybody all along. They were just broadcasting a message of egalitarianism, like Jesus, for example, when they were the minority.
And also the internal theology of Christianity is not dehumanizing women, but definitely separating them out into a separate class, meaning that they are seen as different enough to be subjected to the whims of men in it. It's very patriarchal, and I would say that's bad.
Yeah, so like one of the things that I think about like history is like, so it is ultimately material conditions that influence religion. That so it's kind of like a Marxist point. I do agree with that. That it's ultimately material conditions that lead to changes. The changes in material conditions leading to changes in culture and religion.
No,
So
there's definitely been changes in culture that cause changes in religion. Like that's definitely something that's happened. And sure, the material aspect of it too, but there's definitely culture shifts that happen that religion regularly has to be drug along screaming behind it. So, I mean, There's never been a point, and maybe Owen can fact check me on this, but I can't think of a single point in time where Christianity or any other religion has been ahead of social progress, and social progress has had to catch up to religion.
I don't know,
especially Christianity.
Yeah, I don't know of a single time that's been the case. Like I said, only ever when they're in the minority, and then they advocate for themselves. Like Jehovah's Witnesses are advocating for their own rights, and there's some social progress that happens as a result, like not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Like we don't have to say that if we don't want to, as a result of Jehovah's Witnesses. But that wasn't for society's sake; that was for their sake. That's how it's worked all through history.
Yeah. So, this religion being dragged by, well, even those people who were like dragging religion towards a better interpretation, like many of them were like religious themselves, right? They were just like unorthodox, right? They were unorthodox, but they
But
did like believe God, the religion.
The institution has always been backwards, like especially the Catholic Church, the Protestant leadership, the Confederation of Churches in Germany in World War II have always been backwards and pushing for basically traditionalism. They always push for traditionalism, which is reverting back. Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, like Catholic Church did have I agree, like institutionally religion has been overall right wing conservative.
Yeah.
Though
that's our argument.
Okay, well, okay, then I concede that. Like, institutionally religions have been quite,
and unfortunately, institutions have a lot more power than the minority group, right? Like the Vatican has a lot more power than, say, Nick Fuentes. So whatever the Vatican or whatever the Pope wants is going to dictate Catholic law. And right now, the Pope doesn't want abortion, so there's not going to be any abortion, basically, among Catholics. So that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, so I should mention that, like, I'm a communist, so like I believe that the state or the government, like whenever the Communist Party wins, I think that the party or the government should try to pressure religions to be more left wing, to be more compassionate, rather than all this stuff like misogyny, anti queer theology, or stuff like that. Like that's bad stuff. So institutionally, I'm talking about institutional change, using the state power.
Right.
Like I just bite that bullet. Like right wing people say like, oh, you want to stop religious freedom of like conservative people, and I'm like, I mean, look, you are killing trans people though.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
it's an interesting conversation, and I wish we had more time to talk about it. But I'm wondering, you're communist and religious?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I do believe in God. Yes. Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there are Christian communists in the history, like so there are like socialists, right? Like, so I mean, I'm the minority, I guess. The progressive, the left wing within Christianity, and I like what I've found is that like the structure of like capitalism and like liberal democracies, it seems to favor kind of capitalists, and like and due like they want to make people focus on like trans people, queer people, immigrants, like brown people. Like, I'm a brown guy, right? I'm an immigrant. I mean, I guess I just applied for like work permit in Canada. No, wait, I'm going to apply for work permit in Canada. I just like graduated a few months ago with a master's degree. So, like the capitalists, when they are basically making the reactionary part of religion even more reactionary due to like focusing away from their wealth. So it's like what I want to do is once like the Communist Party wins, like whenever that happens, it should control the government and like actively counter right wing, harmful stuff, harmful right wing stuff. So it's like I want to, like, I am right now in the minority. I do want to become the majority. I mean, I guess I do want more and more Christians to be like more compassionate, but they are not, the masses are not compassionate precisely because the capitalist corporations, billionaires, big banks, they sort of like Rupert Murdoch owns like Fox News, and like this is a similar thing in India. Like there are like billionaires who like own and control the media,
oligarchs, for sure.
Yeah, and I have noticed that in India there's like this Hindu-Muslim conflict, right? There are like right-wing Hindus, Hindu nationalists, and they are like hurting the minority, right? So it's I'm seeing like in lots of countries this is the exact same pattern. Like in the United States, you have like brown people and queer people being the scapegoats, even though they don't have power, right? So the power is in the hands of the capital, right? It's not because it's not because of like a queer or trans person that your medical bills bankrupt you.
Well, it sounds like we probably agree on a lot more than we disagree, but unfortunately, we are going to have to move on to the next person because we're running low on time.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Thank you.
It's been interesting. Give us a call back. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. All right. Looks like we got one more person. You ready to bring him in?
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, I didn't really have anything for
No, you're good. You're good. All right, we've got Kyle, an atheist from North Carolina. You are on the line. He, him. What do you got for us?
Hi, can you hear me all right?
We can hear you.
We got you.
So first time calling, a little nervous.
No sweat.
So I'm sure the screener told you. So I like having debates with people, and I have a friend who is a Christian. We just kind of started debating each other. I brought up one of Forrest's points, for example, about the apple and how Adam and Eve didn't actually know right from wrong. And I just wanted to kind of pull some more ideas and kind of do a little bit more research so I can be a little more prepared for our next one.
Okay, so some ideas on how to debate or on which subjects, or
a little bit on how to debate. I'm not great with how I deliver, but mostly just I'll admit I don't know the Bible very well, so I'm not sure where to turn to actually say like, hey, what do you think about this?
Right. Interesting. Well, so it's mostly theistic conversation, theistic debate about like religion or whatever.
We've also touched on things like ICE and stuff like that, but this is a religious show, so probably want to stick to that.
I would recommend learning the logical fallacies. And I would definitely start there. Learn the logical fallacies. And when you get him on something, make sure you force a concession. Make sure you really drive it home and don't let them get away with kind of weaseling out, because that's what people tend to do when they start to lose a debate. They begin trying to weasel their way out of it, and come up with like excuses and stuff. I don't know. What do you think, John? Do you have any like debate tactics? Or?
Yeah. Well, I've got some suggestions for topics, but I mean, I feel like I need to ask first exactly how hard do you want to hit? And are you prepared to learn something about your friend that you might not have known before?
Yeah, we're cool with each other, and we don't really get on each other's nerves. And if you would love to bring up topics that we could talk about, like it could be passages or ideas, like I said, I'm just right now looking for tools that I can use.
Right.
Like how to debate, like any strategy ideas or how to research. Knowing the subject really well is important for sure.
Yeah,
So
but by tools,
yeah,
like by tools, do you mean like good arguments to bring up to them as far as like how Christianity isn't true? Okay.
Yeah, because like he believes that he doesn't accept really anything in the Old Testament, doesn't believe it's accurate or really necessary.
Oh.
So I could only really pull from the New Testament. And like,
that's not true.
I said with okay.
So
how would you go about attacking that one?
Oh yeah, I've had to do it a lot. So, what do you have something to write with, or I mean, this is recorded, so you could always come back.
I'm at my computer right now.
So there's Matthew 5:17 to 19, right? That's a pretty explicit one. There's also a comparable thing in Luke, but Matthew 5:17 to 19 has Jesus saying that he did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. And that, and of course, the verse 19, I think, just reaffirms that, anybody that doesn't teach the old law is going to be considered least in heaven. So, like, there's definitely consequences to not adhering to to Moses's law. But he says that not a jot or tittle will disappear from the law until all is accomplished. Now, that all is accomplished is doing a lot there, because that's an eschatological statement, right? And by that I mean the end. Right. That means the end time. So it's an end times thing. So like when Jesus is supposed to come a second time, giggity, that's when the law is abolished at that point, because the heaven and earth are going to pass away, right? And a new heaven and new earth are going to come. So until that time comes, the old law is still applicable to Christians, and Jesus specifically makes that point. Now, there are some things that Jesus changes because Jesus is God and everything like that, but as far as the moral laws go, what they like to deem as the moral laws, those are still standing. And if he says, well, Jesus only said that there are 2 commandments, and that's to love God as you would love yourself or whatever, and then do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But that love God, love your God, right, is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. What does it mean? My question is, what does it mean to love your God? And the Christian response is, well, you would follow his commands. So you would do what God wants you to do.
How do we passage for that? I'm sorry, just so I know where to look.
Yeah, for the
Jesus
love.
2 commandments.
See Bible. Yeah. See Bible verse. Jesus 2 commandments. Hold on.
But
Matthew.
the point he got.
Right.
Sure.
So sorry, it's Matthew 22:36 to 40. It says somebody is calling out to Jesus saying, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Which is the Mosaic law. And Jesus replies, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments," right? So, and then the whole loving your God, like, it's just kind of like, I guess maybe an inference, like, would it be very loving to disobey God? Well, it's not loving to disobey God. So how do you obey God? Well, you obey God by keeping his commands, right? His commands are in the Mosaic laws, in the Deuteronomic laws, right? Those are all the commands that God gives. And so, basically Jesus saddles Christians with the Old Testament Mosaic laws in that particular respect. And then even if he wants to reject all the ones that he doesn't like there, I typically like to go for the 10 commandments, because the 10th commandment actually lists women as property and says that you can own slaves as property as well. So those are two avenues in which you can go down to.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So I have 2 points. I know we're probably running short on time. So his view on slavery is that it's more chattel slavery, not true slavery. And there was a point that he really stumped me with. It's Noah's Ark, where it says 2 of each kind of animal. And in the original Hebrew, kind didn't actually mean, in the little bit of research that we did, didn't mean like one of every animal. Kind referred to specific animals. It was like ox, goat, cow, or something like that. So have you heard that argument before?
Never.
Like it was.
No. Kind has usually been like the type of animal, and typically it's like it's a morphological distinction, like between the animals that they're talking about. So like animals that look different.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. That's unusual, and that's not how broader Christianity uses it.
I'm just trying to find it really quick.
But yeah, like
Anyway.
all of the major religions out there, all of the big televangelists, young earth creationists, and everybody out there uses kinds in reference to the type of animal. And they confuse it with species. Sometimes it means clade. Sometimes it means kingdom if they really want to go that far. But yeah. Especially Ken Tovand. He's bad about it. But.
So obviously I'll have to look back into the kind argument. So how do you contend with the chattel slavery argument?
Leviticus 25:44-46.
Very clearly states that you can. It explains how you keep slaves. That's the bottom line. And the Bible endorses slavery. Sorry?
Can you give me that passage again? You said it really quick. Was Leviticus what?
Oh, 25:44-46.
And people will claim that like we have chattel slavery today, but they didn't have chattel slavery back then. And that's true, I suppose, to some degree. Slavery in the United States is different from it was in the Bible, but it's still slavery. It's slavery. We were enslaving people. So, yeah, it's the bottom line.
And
no excuse for this.
As well, I also brought up the loving God argument and how negative things happen in our world. And his idea is that loving refers to the fact that everyone has the chance to go to heaven. So how would you combat that point?
So like how, I mean, if I told you, like, would you consider me a loving father if I said, well, all of my children have the ability to eat dinner, but only the ones that do what I tell them to do can eat dinner? Is that a loving father in that particular respect?
I mean, and this kind of goes back into the Adam and Eve point of, I know Forrest's argument is they didn't know, or it might be Matt's, they didn't know right from wrong, but because they knew they were going to be punished, they knew they shouldn't have partaken.
I'm so sorry. It's really just a yes or no question here. If I, as a father, and I have multiple kids, if I say that only the kids that follow everything that I want, everything that I tell them to do, can eat dinner tonight, and there are some that go hungry, does that make me a loving father?
no, but there isn't, not to do a no but there are times where a child can be punished by not being able to eat dinner because they misbehaved in some way. So it's, you don't hate your child.
Dude,
you
no.
still love them.
No. That's called abuse. Like refusing to feed your kid, that's called abuse. I mean, did you not know that?
No, that's like for one meal because they did misbehave in some major way. Like for me, that was normal.
There is nothing that my child could do that would make me be like, you know what, you don't get to eat tonight. Like that is genuinely horrible.
That's not good. Yeah. It sounds like you actually might have experienced abuse because that's abusive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
But yeah. The point is though that like a debate is a show, and you know you've got to put on a bit of a show for people, and yeah, like talking about their trying to make yourself look more confident and make them look less confident is also a component to this. So
well, isn't that more of an ad hominem fallacy because you're going after the person rather than the idea?
Ad hominem would be attacking the person rather than the idea, yes. But I'm saying it's a show and you just want to make them look less confident than you. That's all. And like I said, it is a show. Like it's a performance that you're putting on. So, you know.
I mean, maybe debate is the wrong term. It's just what I call it. Because it's normally just
kind of conversation, you mean?
Me and the other person. Yeah.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
But also, too, he did something to stump me. Is he kind of turned the black swan fallacy on its head for me, where it's like, because you don't have proof of something, you can't discount it. So he kind of spun it in a way where it's like, oh, if you,
it's not how the burden of proof works.
Explain, please.
Well, just so that I'm understanding you correctly, can you repeat what she said?
Right. So I think this is another one of Forrest's point where the black swan fallacy is brought up. It's like we have no proof for God, therefore we can discount it. But the way he presented it, it was like there were so many other times, like finding a black swan, where because we don't have the proof, the thing can still be true. So I guess, for lack of a better phrase, he kind of discounted the black swan fallacy.
Well, no. So I mean, yeah, that's not how the burden of proof works. So, like, if I'm going to claim there are black swans, then I would need to provide, the evidence for black swans. Now, we're not saying that God can't exist. There are some hard atheists out there that say God can't exist, and they have some pretty good definitions for that, or explanations for that. But as far as in this particular conversation, like, if he says, oh, a God does exist, then he has to agree that, he has to provide evidence for that. He can't just say, well, there's no evidence that disproves a God, so therefore a God is most likely, or anything like that. Of course, a God's always possible, just like Owen said earlier in the show tonight. Anything's possible. A sherbet shitting unicorn is possible, but that doesn't mean that it definitely does exist. And just because I can't disprove a sherbet shitting unicorn to you, that doesn't mean by default that it does exist,
Okay.
I would highly suggest using the sherbet shitting unicorn as an example for your friend. It'll be a great icebreaker for you. His name's Sherman, by the way.
Sherman, the sherbet shitting unicorn. Okay. Yep. I like it. All right. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, and it's just, So I grew up pretty much atheist, so I don't really know where exactly to go. So these are a couple of good points. Again, I think you guys are running out of time. So are there any like other quick passages I can try and look into?
Well, I mean, I think that we've given you a lot right now, and typically these arguments take time to really absorb and really flesh out for yourself. I would definitely suggest watching like all the content here on the line as we progress forward, because we're going to have a lot of people call in with, you know, different arguments, and everybody deploys different arguments for those things. But I would definitely, you know, be listening in on those conversations, and you can, you know, you can find different things that are, that, you know, that you can deploy and everything. So I would suggest doing that. I mean, both Owen and I have definitely given you enough.
So
yeah,
like I said, I've been listening to Forrest and his ideas a lot. So yeah, all right, guys, thank you so much for your time and taking my call. I know atheist calls aren't all that great for show, but
I enjoy them. But yeah, no problem. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
All right.
No, thank you, Kyle. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that was the last call, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget to check out the other shows and check out our Patreon. Don't forget about the Patreon. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming, hanging out with us, watching while we tear people apart. It's been fun.